seeks a second term, while opposition leader Peter Dutton aims to lead the coalition back into power. Some of the key issues influencing voters including the rising cost of living, housing affordability, and healthcare, with over 8.5 million people have already voted early. In Sydney, voter dissatisfaction with major political parties is evident as both Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Labor and Peter Dutton's coalition see a decline in support. Candidates from minor parties and independents are gaining traction, reflecting a shift in voter sentiment. In Melbourne, a man has been charged with an alleged stabbing of a jogger in the city. The incident has raised concerns about public safety, and the police are continuing their investigations. In Queensland, Hollywood actor Owen Wilson has been spotted in Brisbane while filming his latest movie, Runner. The production is expected to contribute approximately 20 million to Queensland's economy and generated excitement amongst locals. In South Australia, the outback township of Inaminka in the state's far northeast is inundated with floodwaters from Western Queensland, leaving the normally arid region looking like the middle of the ocean. In Tasmania, the contentious Hobart AFL Stadium project may be removed from its current planning and assessment process after the Premier expressed doubts about the validity of two central reports. In Northern Territory, alarm bells have been raised as the private maternity services shut in Darwin, leaving the city without any private maternity service. And in Canberra, a Liberal candidate has broken ranks with Peter Dutton over public service cuts, calling the coalition's plan not realistic and not practical. Now, in international news, Russia announces a temporary ceasefire in the Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared a 3-day ceasefire on the Ukraine, set to begin next month. While the announcement offers a brief reprise, Moscow has indicated that it will not agree to the US terms of ending the conflict. There has also been a drone attack on a Gaza ship. The ship carrying humanitarian aid to Gaza was bombed by drones, resulting in significant damage. The attack has raised concerns over the safety of aid deliveries in the region. And Chile has issued a tsunami warning after an earthquake. Chile has issued a tsunami warning following a 7.4 magnitude earthquake off its coast. Authorities are monitoring the situation closely and have urged residents in coastal areas to remain vigilant. That was the latest news on Radio Live. Listen at radiolive.au. This is Radio Live. Australia's conversation starts here.
And let's take a look at Sunday's weather across the country. For Broome, sunny with 35. Perth, a few showers reaching 21. Adelaide, mostly sunny with a high of 27. For Melbourne, mostly sunny with a high of 23. Hobart, mostly sunny and a high of 21. Albury-Wodonga, mostly sunny, 23. For Canberra, morning fog, then sunny with a high of 21. Wollongong, mostly sunny and 22. For Sydney, mostly sunny and 23. For Newcastle, partly cloudy with a high of 23. For Brisbane, showers and a high of 25. For Townsville, partly cloudy and a high of 29. For Cairns, showers and 28 degrees. For Darwin, showers and a high of 33. And Alice Springs, sunny with a high of 27 degrees. And that is your Sunday weather across the Dare Media Group radio stations, whether you're listening to Radio X, My Station, My Rock Destination, or Radio Live. Australia's conversation starts here.
Welcome to the Radio Live show, your dose of conversation, laughter, and insight. Join Scott, Katie, and Nathan as they dive into the stories that matter, share their unique perspectives, and spark the conversations you won't want to miss. It's all happening right here on Radio Live. Australia's conversation starts here.
And a very good evening. We are back from technical difficulties.
We've arrived.
We've managed to fix the echo in the air. It's to do with the Perth studio panel in the end, wasn't it, big fella?
It sure was, but we got there in the end.
We got the panel fixed.
I think you guys were very stressed there for a second.
So we're broadcasting live across Australia. It's 7:05 here in Perth, WA. It's 9:05 in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, and Tasmania. It is 8:35 in Darwin and Adelaide, and we're waiting for our friend Jurgs, who it is 7:05 a.m. where he is. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I'm glad we actually get a bit of a redo here because we can go around the room and introduce one another. So my name's Scott. I'm the Scott part of the Radio Live show.
The Scott part.
That was the Scott.
I'm the Scott part.
And if I stop looking at the camera for some reason, Katie is that way towards me. Nathan is right there. The panel that I have here, there's buttons here, there's buttons here, and there's buttons here. I kind of feel like I was doing that. What's that? Is it Wednesday Addams?
Yeah,
Yeah. For those listening on Radio Live, it's not abracadabra, is it? It's
no, it's I don't even know
Thriller.
the
I
name
don't
of the
even know
song,
what
but
it
it's
is.
it's the Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
dance.
the thriller. If you're watching us, on YouTube, you'll be able to see me go. I've still got it wrong. Anyway,
think in other shows you've been referred to as the Button Monkey.
the Button Monkey. Yes, I'm also the Button Monkey. For most of the shows on Radio X. Again, if you missed it first hour, a bit of a swear jar because it's a brand new radio station. First one to say Radio X. We got to set something up for that anyway. All right, that's enough talking from me. Which one of you two fine presenters want to go next?
Oh, why do you have to put us on?
Oh, there we go.
spot?
Katie spoke first, so talk away.
Oh, you're terrible at this, just putting people on the spot, aren't you?
Yes.
I am Katie, and to follow suit, I'm the Katie part of this. I'm joining everyone, and I offer the female voice to this otherwise sausage fest of a show, just to give a little bit more perspective. Just thought I'd make you all giggle a little bit there.
And Nathan is in our Queensland studio.
He is.
Good evening, sir.
Hi guys, I'm Button Monkey 2. I'm handling the YouTube live stream tonight.
Yes, hello to all of YouTube as well.
Is
We are
anyone
here.
listening on YouTube?
Not yet.
We just started.
I guess people will jump on
You
later
want to
on.
calm
Right?
yourself?
Yeah, and you should probably also post the link on our social media.
You definitely should.
Well, okay, I'll add that to my list of buttons. Now, we are live here on the Radio Live show, bringing you the latest in the Australian federal election. For those, I guess, our political compasses, mine happens to be centre-right, so I'm hoping that the LNP get up tonight. It's a very tight competition at the moment.
We
Katie,
knew that was coming, didn't we? We knew
Yes.
that it was going to be a tight one.
Yes. What's your political compass over there, Katie?
Mine actually leans sort of ever so slightly centre left,
Okay.
which it surprised me a little bit because I always thought of myself as quite a liberal person. I don't really identify with a lot of the things that in Australia the left have to say,
Yeah.
but apparently I do, according to this political compass test.
Okay. Right. And Nathan, how does yours sit? And remember, there's no judgment here. by the
Yeah,
way. I'll just preempt that.
I'm a classic radical leftist. On a political compass, I land as far left and as far libertarian as you could possibly go. I really don't have a dog in the fight with this election because I don't think the Greens are going to win, and I don't think my first choice, the
actual libertarians.
What are you showing me, Scotty?
So, sorry to interrupt your part. So, while Katie was voting, because the other cool thing about my political compass is I'm not an Australian citizen, right? But I have a big voice when it comes to Australian politics.
You do.
So I grabbed all the how to vote cards.
You got a big
from the
mouth
guy,
for a
right?
guy that can't do anything about it.
So I grabbed two. Thanks. I grabbed two of my favourite ones. So you can see that there, Nathan, Katie. I'll show that one over there. So I grabbed those because obviously that's where I'm leaning towards. But while I was there for the lols, and I wanted to, as we get into the show, kind of prove a point here, is I grabbed the red one, and the green one as well, because I wanted to bring something up that Albo has brought up in the election, and I just want to call him out on it. So my job is to call out the left. Nathan's job is to call out the right.
I just call everybody out.
And Katie calls out where we go.
Yeah, no, my job is to be an agitator.
I like it.
I mean,
like it.
I wouldn't expect anything less of you as a radical lefty.
Yes. So to kick things off tonight, we've got a whole list of seats that we will look at during the night. I just need to stand up. I feel powered here. So as
Howard.
powered, I feel ready to go. Also, we're just waiting for Jurgs to join us from the States. Jurgs hosts Up the Middle here on Radio Live and Radio X. No, I can't stand up. The camera's not playing the game. There's a couple of seats we've got to watch tonight. So on a bit of a national sort of a highlight, Peter Dutton, who is the Australian opposition leader, he is in the seat of Dixon. Now, Dixon is in Queensland, around sort of that Strathpine sort of area.
Right.
We know that area quite well. Do you know that area quite? You've lived in Brisbane before, haven't you, Nathan?
No, I've never lived in Brisbane before. I've visited there a couple of times.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like everyone that's lived on the eastern states of Australia has visited Brisbane at least once in their life.
Yes.
Like every
It would-
adult,
yeah,
I mean.
Yeah. But when you think of the east coast of Australia, like Brisbane's sort of one of those things that's on the side. No one kind of talks or thinks about Brisbane. But Peter Dutton is there's a challenge definitely in his seat at the moment of Dixon. So currently the Labor candidate Ali France is leading 53 to 46, but only 6.1% of the vote is currently being counted in Dixon. So that's a bit of a worry for the opposition leader. Wouldn't it be funny? Let's just put it like this, right? What if the LNP won tonight, right? And Peter Dutton loses his seat? Who becomes Prime Minister? You don't know.
Actually, a valid question.
Right? So then what would happen down the track is you would have to wait until all the votes are counted to select the party room, right? And then everyone in the party room would have to then vote on a new leader, and then that be the leader would be the Prime Minister. So
Is that how that works? So if he
Yes.
loses his seat tonight, but we end up with a coalition government,
that's right. Yeah.
like Peter Dutton won't be the Prime Minister, but we'll still have an LNP government.
That's right. Look,
What?
that potentially could be an outcome for tonight. I would think because David Littleproud is the Nationals leader, and he's in the seat of Maranoa. His seat's already been called. He's won already. So Maranoa, it covers a very, very large section of Queensland, out towards Toowoomba and out where Lawrence Springborg was.
Yep.
Previous opposition leader in the Queensland Parliament.
He's got the
And
coolest
so his
name, by
seat's
the
already-
way.
Lawrence Springborg.
Do you know what they used to call him? The Borg.
The
They used to call
Borg.
him the Borg. He is currently the president,
You will
actually,
be
of
assimilated.
the LNP party as well. So again, this show is a very, very unique show because again, we are talking in your language. We're not talking in this. You know, when you watch Channel 9, Channel 7,
Yeah,
our mates over at Sky News, it's very.
It can get a bit over your head, and I think a lot of people tune out. And it actually brings an interesting topic up. When you listen to those sort of very typical election night coverage, a lot of the younger voters, and by young I mean I'm talking like 35 and under, typically tune out. They don't listen to it, and that's been a struggle for the last little while now, is getting younger voters involved in politics, because the world has essentially turned to Bunty and everyone's tuning out. No one cares anymore. But there was this fun little app or website that launched this time around for this election called Build Your Ballot. And it was essentially aimed at getting the younger voters involved in politics and getting them, or giving them, the ability to cut through a lot of the fluff and, the back and forth and the mud throwing that happens around this time, and simply highlights the main points, what's important to you, and this is how you should vote from that. And I thought that was a really interesting concept, and I thought it was a great concept. And I went on and I had a look for this myself, just so I could understand what this was about. And it became so popular during this last election that their servers actually crashed because their website had so much traffic.
So, just want to bring you some breaking news very quickly while we're here. The ABC are reporting that Peter Dutton is projected to be the first opposition leader to ever lose his seat. The ABC is reporting that Anthony Green, has projected that Peter Dutton is not just to lose the election, but his own seat of Dixon.
Oof.
His loss would leave the coalition leaderless and represent. I've got the rest of the story is obviously not available there at the moment. Excuse me while I clear my throat here because that's the worst thing to have on live radio. Sorry.
I was watching, speaking of Yergs, I was watching one of his episodes, and he had a touch of the same thing. He couldn't quite get rid of that tickle in his throat, and he goes out live as well. And it was I had a bit of a giggle. You sort of reminded me of him then.
Yes, sorry. And the thing is too, my bottle of water here that's sitting here is nearly
Put your
empty.
pieces of paper down. I think you've slammed them on the desk about 8 times.
I'll put them back over there. So I don't know why, but the website I was looking at is currently not doing the right thing. So if we just zoom into Dixon very quickly, the Australian Labor Party is ahead, 58 to 41. So yes, Peter Dutton could be the first opposition leader to not only lose an election but lose his seat as well. John Howard went through the same thing when he lost to Kevin Rudd back in 2007. He lost the election and lost his seat as well.
So that essentially just puts him out of a job, really, doesn't it?
But pretty much, he's back off to being a
He was a
police
policeman.
officer. Yeah, did you know that, Nath?
I did not.
No, he was a police officer.
That's weird. See, I would have thought, I would have guessed like lawyer.
Yeah, I can see that.
Some more election results here. If we turn to Deakin, which is a Victorian seat, is the most marginal seat in the country, but could easily flip to Labor. Matt Gregg is the candidate, the Labor candidate there. It's currently 56 to 43. Yes, it is. Fowler, we were talking about Fowler before we had technical difficulties. So as I was saying about, there's an independent. Oh, right, Flower then, not Flower. Fowler. So they had a independent run there as well. Di Lee, I believe she wasn't pre-selected for the Liberal Party, but she's currently leading 53 to 46 in that seat as well. If we take a look at Banks, so like the Liberals will need to try and win seats either off Labor or off the independents, like seats like Wentworth, like that's Malcolm Turnbull's old seat.
Yeah.
They'll also need to get seats off Curtin and WA.
But I mean, that's not a shock because
No.
they didn't. Labor's had a majority government for the last 3 years, so of course they're going to have to steal seats.
Yeah,
It's the only way they're going to win.
If we go and have a look, the next seat that's a highlight seat for us is Banks in New South Wales. No, is that in New South Wales? Yes, it is. Sorry. The independent, sorry. Oh, don't want to give out fake news here. The Labor Party is leading in Banks at the moment, where the Liberals and the Labor Party were actually neck and neck. If we have a look here, like it's 52-47 to David Coleman is the Liberal candidate there. If we move into another seat here, let's go have a look at Bradfield. Is there anything you want to chime in on and say there, Nathan?
I was just running the swingometer up here, so I've got a picture of each seat in the election right now. So I'm seeing the Bradfield seat is very closely contested, very slightly going towards LNP.
Yeah, so there's a few independents in that seat that are threatening this traditionally safe Liberal seat. That's not what the Liberals want tonight, but the Liberal candidate is behind 48 to a independent, Nicolette. How do you say that name? Boele. Apologise, Nicolette, for that one. Bowl. Yeah,
I feel like it's just bold.
It's interesting spelling of that name, isn't it? So that was one seat. Another one. So Victoria is another one. So a lot of people hate the state government at the moment. After Daniel Andrews and Jacinta Jacinta Price, Jacinta Allen, she's current premier in Victoria.
Mm.
You know, you would think that some seats in Victoria would flip to Liberal. But doesn't look like that's the case. The Labor Party are leading there 56 to 43. The other one there is, so you've got what have you got in front of you there? The little seat thing, have you?
So that would be the Guardian's swingometer, which
Yes.
is just showing on the YouTube live stream. So as you've been reading out seats, I've been showing what they're swinging towards, whether it's Labor or Liberal.
So another seat in Victoria is Chisholm. It's a close contested between Labor and Liberals. You want to bring that one up there and let's have a look at that one there. I'm trying to spell. There it is, Chisholm. So again, Labor's leading that one as well. 58 to 41, the Liberals. Kate Allen is the Liberal candidate there. Can't even get the words out. Another interesting seat, if we go back to Queensland where you are, right, in Brisbane. So this seat here on a state level is, I'm pretty sure, is by the Greens. I could be wrong. But
It
there's
is.
no result. Is it? Oh, there you go. There's no result in the Brisbane seat. Is it Bonar
It's
or Bonner?
extremely closely contested.
Yeah, Bonner's another one. So this seat apparently is important for Labor to hold.
I feel like it's
To
very
keep
early
power.
in the night to have any sort of real look just yet. I
Well, if
mean,
you have a look.
there are some that
Yeah.
are starting to show a trend in which way they're going. But I
So,
mean, as we said earlier, all of these early results that come in with such a fraction of the votes counted, we're not going to know a clearer picture until probably a little bit from now.
Yeah,
well,
and
actually, now that you say that,
that's another thing
we
that's
have,
like, so something that's true like very widely in politics is that more liberal area, that is to say more politically liberal, which means further left, more progressive people tend to live in metro areas, and more conservative people tend to live in more urban or rural areas, and that you get historically more left votes counted first because metro areas have their votes counted earlier.
Yeah, there was a thing about this that it seems to be every year, or not every year, sorry, every election, there always seems to be this like sort of red surge right at the beginning, and they get up really really high, and then sort of slowly as the hours creep on and the votes get counted, those numbers tend to level out a little bit more, and we see
Yeah.
some independents come in and take seats off the ALP.
So I have some breaking news that's just come across my desk here. The ALP have, so in Australian politics, first to 76 wins. Labor has just got there. The Australian Labor Party, they've got 77 seats up on the board as we were going through everything
there we go.
just before.
Yeah, but I mean, as we said, those tend to change though as the night goes on. I mean, there's what, like 6% of the votes been counted.
30.7%.
So
Oh,
all of
really?
a sudden, there's been a massive rush.
Yeah.
Sorry, 30.7. Not a good night for the Liberal Party. Again, people thought that maybe it'd be a bit of a change. Geez, that rounded up real quick this time around.
Didn't it though?
There was I can remember a few elections that took longer than this to go on. But yeah, definitely looks like Peter Dutton's lost his seat. And also, we're talking about I was saying about the Labor government in Melbourne. People don't like the state government. Well, it turns out they love the federal government because they've clearly won. Albo's on his way to address the Labor HQ. So it was all over.
I thought they couldn't address HQ though until the other person's conceded or something like that.
I would assume that Peter Dutton has conceded.
That's so early in the evening, isn't it?
What do you think about it? Over east, it's 9:30 or so.
I suppose.
Is that what you were getting on your side there, mate?
Yeah, no, that's literally what I'm showing on the YouTube stream. So the 77 votes for the ALP, 33 for the LNP, and 3 votes for the Greens. Good on the Greens, they got the 3 votes in there.
It's a little bit surprising because there was a lot of traction, not just like I know that there's been a lot of talk around like the Sydney area, but a lot of traction sort of Australia wide amongst independent movement of like, sort of toss the both ears. We want someone else.
And I mean this election too. What if you ever think about it? I mean, the golden question that the Liberals were asking themselves asking potential voters was, are you better off than you were 3 years ago? I mean, if you go around and you ask, are you better off than you were 3 years ago?
Nope.
Nathan.
My life is pretty unstable as it is.
Is Nathan still there with us?
Yeah, I'm not a good
Well, there you go. I'm shocked at how quickly that all happened.
Model for this.
Yeah, I'm not a good model for the average economic person.
Oh,
that is true.
oh, there you
But
go.
so if now he's reached his 77.
Mhm.
So he's won the election, even though there's, I mean, this is a landslide win, honestly. Like, this is enormous and very quick, in my opinion. Congratulations to him. Is this not something that, like, there'll still be seats that change hands over the next couple of
There's
days?
still
Though, correct?
26 seats in doubt. And you got to
Yeah.
remember, too, as you said in the news, that people voted early as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even get counted on the night. You know what I mean?
No, there was a thing about this that, like, a lot of the postal votes won't get counted until tomorrow. And that's 8.5 million votes or something like that. So these seats, they'll still well, if that's the case, and seats are still going to change hands over the next couple of days, and there's still millions and millions and millions of votes yet to be counted, what happens if he gets underneath the 76?
Well, it's first 76 wins. That's how it goes. That's how it rolls.
Then what's the point of preferential voting? If it's not preferential, it's first past the post.
Well, no, it's preferential. So,
But it's not. It's first past the post.
So if you put the Greens first and the Labor Party second, your vote would be counted towards the Labor Party because they're winning.
Yeah, right.
hey, do you have their this is how live radio works. Do you have a link ready to go in case Albanese does his victory speech there?
I can prepare one.
Yeah, if you get the link ready, and I will bring you now the latest actually on what's happening, because again, that all happened on very, very quickly.
It did.
So the latest in the election coverage. So within the last hour, Anthony Green from the ABC called it. It would be a Albanese government return. The only doubt remains is how many seats Labor will hold and gain. For the Liberals, the figures are not good, with less than a third of the vote counted. The Albanese government, turn that down a little bit more. The Albanese government on two-party preferred has risen about 55%. So that was different to last election, where I think they won on like 32% of the vote. That represents a national swing towards the ALP of 4%. Opposition leader Peter Dutton has almost certainly lost his seat of Dixon, with his primary vote as low as 30%. That's not good.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
It seems to, be impossible to recover from here. There's a lot of Labor frontbenchers who are missing their, potentially not being returned to the shadow government. Bert Van Man in the seat of Ford in Queensland is in a lot of trouble. In New South Wales, senior Liberal frontbencher David Coleman is also looking at potentially losing his seat as well. In South Australia, in the seat of in one of the seats in South Australia, the vote has crashed almost 10%. So it is not looking good for the LNP. And again, congratulations to the Albanese government being returned. We can all be happy with. Some of us are happy with that. Some of us aren't. I wish. Look, again, if you put that question to me, are we in a better position than we were 3 years ago? No, would be my answer. And look, I hope in the second term they do something with cost of living. All right, I hope they do something with, instead of pushing the voice,
And
do something to fix cost of living.
I would hope that they have learnt from that mistake now. And one of the things that what I would hope that they would do with a second term is, I think part of a lot of the problem that these terms of government have is they get in, they have all the promises in the world, but it takes longer to see that through to fruition. And I think that they get caught and, no one's done anything, and, you haven't fulfilled your promises, which has been a massive thing with Albanese during this election, is that, you've lied, you haven't kept your promise, you said that your word is your bond, and so on and so forth. But I would hope that if he's having a second term, that he would actually, now that he's got the time to see some of these things through to fruition, that he can actually follow through on some of those original election promises, and maybe even some of the new ones, because some of the new ones is basically just a washed up version of the old ones that we're yet to see. And yes, he has done, stuff with his term, obviously enough to gain the votes that he's had. But I think a lot of people are still very cautious, because during the end of the ScoMo time, like that, the ScoMo era was so negative that I think it's still in recent memory, and that's, I think, scared a lot of people. And I would still hope that even with that fear, you can't, Labor can't just sit and do nothing. And I don't think that they want to do nothing. I think they've got the best intentions. I just think that one of the biggest problems we have in Australia is the government changes too quickly, and no one can ever get anything done. So we're just stuck in this perpetual loop of nothing. And no one ever goes forward.
So Nathan, would you be interested in state politics? Most states in Australia do a 4-year term. The federal government is the only one that does a 3-year term. Do you think having a 4-year term would be beneficial?
I think that what the United States shows us is that a 4-year term might not even be long enough.
I agree, and this is the second term thing. Now they've got 6 years. That's probably more than, it takes a good 5 years to pull anything decent off, right? So these 2, 3, 4-year terms, they're just not long enough.
I can see Jurgs has jumped on to join us. Are you there, Jurgs?
I am almost getting. I'm trying to get switched over to either just Discord, where I'm joining you guys through, or if I'm going to also rebroadcast, I want to try to put it onto Yerg's radio, Right Talk Radio particularly, and even Rainbow Radio as well. But
Shameless plug.
yeah, and then apparently my "I'm on the way" message from more than an hour ago wasn't quite as I don't know, it wasn't quite as accurate as what I might have thought at 6:15 in the morning U.S. time.
Well, that's okay. We launched Radio Live, and we had some echoes happening in everyone's ear, and it took us about an hour to get it going. So we've actually only been on the air for 36 minutes.
Ah, gotcha. Well, to answer, I'm getting the cities down, but is it Kate or Katie?
Haiti.
Okay, so the AI, the KAI makes it look like Kate here in the
I
States.
know. It does.
So I'm just going to remember it looks like Kate, but it's Katie. And then
If you
I
have
want
to
to.
hyphenate the E to make it easier to remember, go nuts.
Oh, well, I won't do that unless that's how you actually spell it. And then I still won't be able to do it unless I'm writing it through my iPhone because I don't know how to do that on a computer.
Yeah, no,
But
I do get a little bit of slack for this fairly often of the way that my name is spelt. So you're not the first
no,
person, and almost everyone new that I speak to asks, "Is it Kate or Katie?" It's Katie. For
no,
everyone listening, it's Katie.
I'll know Katie now because I'll know that it looks like Kate to me as an American, and that means
Yes.
it's Kate. Just like Canberra is Canberra.
Canberra. Yeah, you said it.
Yep. Oh,
Good
I
job.
gave you a shout out earlier this week. I don't know if you were listening. I know there was the one day Nathan was it was late, and to answer your question, it turned out to be both late and early, and
Yes.
too early. I went back to bed, but I was up till about 3:30 in the morning. I have figured out. Well, there was already a way, but I've learned how to do vertical video because even though we're all on the radio, apparently I need to use a camera too. And so
Well,
my show also about
yes, because
video.
we're also live on YouTube right now.
Okay. And that was the other thing was I was going to get on Restream and like probably share my screen with the Discord to include you folks as well, and go live on my social medias as well.
Yep.
And I was thinking, well, am I? That's a great question from her. Am I just really early, or am I just still up late? And I figured out how, and I think I actually showed some of them to you, how to split my screen into thirds.
Yeah.
So when I do a vertical video for like TikTok and whatever, I can also promote Radio Live, um, whatever other station I might be on, and then also a sponsor and in the video. So the top third in the one I've been using is my gym.
Yes,
The
I
middle,
did see that actually. I saw that on your
yeah.
TikTok that you've got you sort of your branding going
So
on.
yeah, 3:30 in the morning Eastern U.S. time was when I crawled into bed for what was supposed to be a 2-hour nap. Turned out to be a 3-hour nap, and then I overslept an hour.
It's
But
always
it's
the
all
way it goes. We've always had those naps where, when you have a nap that's just so good and you wake up and you're like, what day is it? What year are
What
we in?
day is it?
oh, yes. Well, that was also part of the reason why I was so successful at staying up till 3:30 in the morning last night, was because I had what was supposed to be an hour nap turned into about a 3-hour nap late yesterday afternoon, early yesterday
Oof,
evening, and then yeah, and then pretty much
poor
soon after
decision.
feeding.
Poor decision.
Oh yeah, I know. It was one of those things. Oh yeah, it's just going to be a power nap, and I'll get up. Yeah, well, we can guess how that turns out.
You-
So speaking
Well,
of
to
turning,
catch you up on the last sort of half an hour, Yergs, is we've gone over a couple of things, and the nuts and bolts of it is we have what looks like another 3 years in a ALP government.
Well, hang on. I can bring you.
The
Oh,
Greens
we're
have
gonna
just
play the
lost 3
music
seats.
bit.
So it looks like the count has changed. So the ALP are currently on 77 seats. Takes 76 to win. Anthony Albanese is on his way to Labor HQ to what we assume he is doing his victory speech.
Yeah.
Peter Dutton, the opposition leader, has not only lost the election, but he's actually lost his seat of Dixon
Me poor boy Dado.
in Brisbane.
It's a rough night to be Dado.
that same thing happened in Canada earlier this week. Not only did the Conservative candidate for Prime Minister lose as Prime Minister, but he lost his seat in Parliament at the same time.
Oof.
Ouch.
So yeah, and it's apparently exit polls and even entry polls, the polls that I reported on yesterday,
Yeah.
are also it's because of Donald Trump.
Rough times. Rough times to be a politician.
Has we've just heard
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Peter
Trump
Dutton
all
has
along.
just done his concession speech.
Oh, he has he?
He has.
Oof. Do you know what? I have to congratulate those that can give their all for promoting themselves in an election and then on the night of the night do their concession speech in front of everybody that was there rooting for them. Because I think it takes a certain type to be able to hold your head up high and do that. Because we've definitely seen candidates in the past, haven't we? That they haven't given a concession speech until some days later when they've calmed down. Like it's sort of like, oof, dodged a bullet there. Like you can't even admit defeat gracefully. This is the whole point of politics.
And just quickly, Nathan, just interrupt us when Anthony Albanese is ready for his victory speech.
Sure will.
If you can see it there. Interesting.
I got beef with his acceptance speech.
Who?
Albo.
In 2022?
I do.
Okay.
I wonder if this one's going to be better. I got beef from his 2022 election win speech because he didn't thank his partner. I got to think about this because every other politician thanks their partner because their partners are always such a big part of them being able to do what they do. And you see this all around the world, right? All around the world, the person that wins, they always thank their partner. Whether, girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever, it's 2025. Whoever it happens to be, their significant other, they always get thanked. They thank the family, right? And he didn't. Albo didn't. And that it's bugged me for the last 3 years. So I really hope tonight that he thanks his partner because she's been there through, this whole last 3 years of him, like the last election, last 3 years of him in government. They've gotten engaged within that time, and now she's about to hit another 3-year term. And I really want to see the woman thanked. I honestly do. From a woman's perspective, I want to see her thanked.
All right, so here's the ticker running across the bottom of my screen. Special report: Australian elections show a re-election for Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Not only did Peter Dutton lose as PM, just like in Canada, he lost his seat in Parliament. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a rough night to be Dado.
And I'm learning I'm learning the nicknames too. Albo and Dutto, right?
Yes. We had Albo, Dado. Albo's predecessor was ScoMo. We've got a thing with nicknames here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Um,
Yeah, your microphone is really quiet. It's slightly it's too quiet to hear you properly.
okay. How about now?
oh,
That's a little better.
Yep.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
that
Thank you.
doesn't usually That's because I'm actually facing it this time. I was just kind of sitting here mumbling,
That might help.
and let's not forget, I'm still half asleep.
You are. It's what's it? Mid morning over there now.
8:15 a.m.
Oh yeah.
5.
Also, Yergs, you are set up properly on my end. If you turn on your video, it will properly work with my stream.
Just very quickly, I have run out of water, and we're heading to 7:45. We're just going to take a very, very quick break, and we'll be back in. A little timer here says 2 minutes. Is that okay with everyone?
Yep.
That I can. We're live now, kind of thing on my end. So
Oh,
Yeah, we get to see your
no,
beautiful
actually,
face.
if my beautiful co-host handed me a bottle of water.
A full bottle of icy water. You're welcome.
Mm,
I come prepared.
thank you. That's the
is
second
that
time tonight. Actually, I
three
have
screens?
gone to talk and lost my voice. Sorry.
Is that 3 screens that I'm looking at filled with wood paneling?
Yes.
It is actually,
Yes.
yes. But we're all in different areas. It just happens to be that way.
Wait, Nathan, are you with the two of them right now?
No, I'm on the opposite side of the country.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
We are all in different areas, but it
I,
just happened to be that we all look like we're in the same area.
I would make a mom's basement joke, although I don't think, Katie, that window looks too much like a basement. Like you're
No,
at least on
this
the floor.
is so our studio is actually set up. You can't see through the window, but if you could, you'd see that our house is about 50 meters that way.
Up the road.
So we're like the studio is set up in sort of this like cottage thing at the back of our property.
Right on.
Mainly
Okay.
because if it was in the house, like our children are up there currently, and I told them that they could have as much PlayStation and snacks as they like, if as long as they leave us alone for the next hour. I
Oh,
also
yes.
may have told them I only want to see you if the house is burning down. So,
Yes, Alex, I'll take famous last words for 1,000.
but no, we are set up. The studio is set up in a little sort of cottage thing out the back of our property, and Nathan is about 4,500 kilometers away, and you are all the way on the other side of the world. So it just
Right.
happens to look like we're all in a similar place.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing is that over on this side, our country tends to forget just how big Australia really is.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
Like you would pretty much um, fill the contiguous United States coast to coast. You're almost as big as the U.S. is.
yeah, where it's similar size to the continental United States and less
Half the people.
less than 1/10.
And
Less
less than
than
1/10.
1/10 of the people.
Yep.
Oh, population? Yeah.
That's
There's
Yeah.
insane.
22 million people in Australia. No, sorry, it is 25 million people in Australia now.
There's
Is it really?
360 million people in the United States.
Yeah. 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 California alone is 30 million.
Yes. Yes, if California
That's
seceded
wild.
from the United States, it would be a bigger country than Australia in both population and economy.
That's
Yeah.
actually wild to think about, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, because you got to remember the biggest industry and the biggest two industries in California are Hollywood and technology.
Yeah.
The Silicon Valley is in California, um, between San Jose and San Francisco, and then Hollywood is pretty much Los Angeles. I think they rank number 5 in the world for
That's crazy to think about. That like there's that amount of people in such a small area. Now I've been to California, right? I have visited physically, and it to me it didn't seem like it was that like it was definitely, I was a small town gal going to somewhere like California. It like I knew it was big, but I didn't see the exactly how big. And when it's described to you like that, that's insane.
Mm.
That like that one little spot is bigger than our entire country, or has more
Yeah.
people than our entire country.
Yep.
And
Oh, I
we
think
get annoyed here with like if you're more than like three people deep in a line anywhere, we're like, we'll come back later. It's fine. It's too busy in here. Like
yeah.
anywhere you go, isn't it? Like rides, doctors' offices, like blood collection places, shopping centers. If you're more than three or four people in that queue, you're like, yeah, it's fine, really. I'll come back when
Oh
it's
yeah,
quieter.
yeah. Take a number, come back later.
Yeah. We're not
Yeah,
a
I was
patient sort. We don't wait. We don't wait around for that stuff.
you'd be a perfect location for like another Disney World.
Yes. Been to Disney World, loved it, would love one here in Australia.
What was there's a Six Flags up near DC that's closing at the end of the summer.
What is Six Flags?
It's another type of like a Disney, except they don't have like it's a small world. All the rides are different types of roller coasters,
Oh,
and um, it's a company similar to Disney. They don't have like their own TV or do movie studio or anything like that.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just park company, but and like I said, it's all high end roller coasters, and they're closing one of the. I guess it's like a kick that's kind of wearing itself out. That it's just not a thing as much anymore.
Yeah.
Um, is amusement parks. I think COVID really put a dent in a lot of industries like that. That I know hospitality, for example. I know hospitality experts that said the buffet would never come back again. And
Has it?
fortunately for it is it has, yeah.
Oh,
Um,
good.
it,
I love me a
uh,
buffet.
yeah, yeah. Uh, the one thing I agree with the current administration slash regime here in
Scott's
the States,
dying.
um, is
Sorry, Yegs.
in addition to MAGA, they now have MAHA,
What is
make
maha?
make America healthy again. And
Oh
there's a
my
push
goodness.
outlaw various food colorings that are supposedly toxic. And if you go to Canada, for example, and get a box of Fruit Loops, they're all the same color.
What?
There's no different colors in the Fruit Loops in Canada.
That
And
is
that's because
actually insane.
they don't allow the food colorings that they believe and some people in the industry believe to be toxic. And so that's one thing our Secretary of Health and Human Services, I mean, blind squirrels find nuts, right? And that's one of the things he may have found.
I
So he
feel
made this.
like, I don't know, personally, is there not more important things to be worrying about than the color of Fruit Loops?
Yeah, yeah, like your boss canceling all kinds of monies that go to cancer research, veterans benefits, things of that nature. Yeah,
Yeah, feel like there's
but
more important things to be worrying about than the color of Fruit Loops.
yeah, like I said, blind squirrels find nuts.
I love that saying is great. I love that saying.
I've heard a very similar saying. I think it was even a blind squirrel is right twice a day.
I thought it was even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, broken clock. I've heard. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that one too, but
How is a blind squirrel right twice a day with what?
Yeah, I don't understand the saying.
um,
I know it's not funny anymore because we've asked you to explain it, but like, I don't get it.
I can't say it on air.
It's
Oh,
gonna be
okay.
fun. It's gonna be funny because either it's gonna be something that he can't say on air, or it's not gonna be funny, and we're gonna be able to laugh our asses off just at Nathan for cracking something that wasn't funny at all.
Oh, there goes Katie. There goes Katie's video.
Katie fell down with all that. Oh, that's scary. She fell down between my legs.
G'day.
Just everybody look at the door, make sure the kids are still in the house.
Did you laugh so hard that you knocked the camera off?
No, I
Oh.
didn't think.
Tonight's the night for technical difficulties. I love it.
I literally named the show Technical Difficulties Edition.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you want to know what it
Do you want to know
was?
what it was?
So
So
where the
where
camera
the
is
camera
actually
is
on my
actually
phone.
on my phone.
And
And
You must have turned a mic on too.
Hey,
that sounds better.
Better.
I was wondering what was happening there. So the camera is actually my phone. And I'd gotten an email and my phone buzzed because my phone is actually just sitting on the lip of a computer screen.
Nice.
And it fell down. Which now is rather concerning because I told the children if they needed me to send me a text message.
No, that's okay. I have my phone here available, ready to go.
Well,
So, as Albo arrived, I know Penny Wong, the Foreign Affairs Minister, is talking to the Labor faithful at the moment. How far away from is Albo ready to have his speech?
I don't see anything at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, they tend to keep that stuff pretty under wraps, don't they?
Mm.
It's sort of one of those last minute things. What I am surprised about is, like, yes, we knew that there was going to be a lot of support for him in this election, purely because, as I said before, people are still scarred of recent memory from the downfall of ScoMo after the whole COVID fiasco. But there's a lot of anger towards Elbow as well, which I thought may have come through a little bit more in terms of like the independents getting up, but we, so far anyway, haven't really seen a whole lot of that. Like, have we got like general, who's got what seats currently?
Yeah, so I can give you 39.3% of the vote
Yes.
has been counted.
Uh-huh.
Labor has 86 seats, which is 13 seats up on what they previously had. The Coalition are at 39 seats. The others, so that's your teal independent candidates, your One Nations,
Your Greens.
if the Trumpet of Patriots got up, they are sitting in there as well. The Greens, as Nathan pointed out, had Nathan has it up there on the YouTube screen. The Greens had 3 seats and then they disappeared in the count as well. While we're talking about the Trumpet of Patriots, so the Trumpet of Patriots is the Trump Light Party.
Right.
We've been talking about, backed by Clive Palmer.
I didn't see them getting up, honestly. I know that they were trying to ride the coattails of Donald Trump's win, but people in Australia just have disdain for Clive Palmer. Like, it was never gonna happen.
Good.
It just wasn't.
I like to think that my coverage of him from over here in America had something to do with it, but
So So the story
But
behind Clive Palmer, in a nutshell, was he'd had a was it a copper mine? Correct me if I'm wrong. A nickel mine.
Nickel.
It was a nickel mine that he had here, and I don't know all of the details off the top of my head, to be fair with you, but essentially the nickel mine closed, and it was a poor decision on his part, but he didn't pay any of his employees, and Australia has not forgotten this. Literally, during this election campaign, the comments on all of the Trumpeter Patriot stuff was still like, Clive, pay your employees. Like,
good.
Australia has not forgotten.
Oh, I'm just looking at my settings on mix. Can somebody? I can do that here. I just might cause an echo in a second or a loop.
No, that's okay.
I'll do it. I'll muffle it, and that way we might be on in London too.
Oh, go us.
Oh, hello.
Hello, London.
Hello, London. Um, just very quickly, I just want to have a look at. Remember how we were talking about Victoria before? How a lot of Victorians don't like the current state government led by Jacinta Allen, and the Liberal Party were hoping to gain seats from Victoria.
Victoria
They
before.
lost one.
Did
are.
they? They've lost another.
So they the Labor won the 25 seats in the state of Victoria. Liberal Party only gained 4. The Independents picked up 3, and the Nationals picked up 3 as well. So the coalition there have got 7 seats. The Independents, I want to scroll in and have a look there because one of the things that happened in 2022 was the Teals or the Independents targeted the Liberal seats like Kooyong, where the Treasurer at the time, Josh Frydenberg, was, and the Teals actually got up in that seat.
That's another nickname for you, Yergs, was Frido. He was all right. Poor Frido. Frido was a casualty in the ScoMo administration. He didn't necessarily do anything wrong himself, but he was guilty by association and booted out very swiftly.
What was Scaremo? Is it what you called him?
ScoMo.
Scummo. What did he do that was got him fired?
Honestly, what didn't he do?
One of one of the things that he did is during COVID is he swore himself into multiple ministries, including the Treasurer, Defence Minister. So he was also the Prime Minister and swore himself in these other ministries in case of an emergency.
Which, I mean, on paper made sense, but the fact that he did it without the knowledge of the sitting ministers really pissed some people off. So there was that. He did this. He had a family holiday whilst the country was burning.
He went to Hawaii.
Went to Hawaii
while the country,
was
on fire.
burning and people were
Yeah.
dying. So that was a fun one.
Yeah. We had Senator Ted Cruz from Texas.
Yep.
Got like an inch of snow. He took his family to Cancun.
It's funny, earlier on in
It's
the
one of
show,
those-
before we were starting the show, I was talking to Scott behind the scenes about how I had it up earlier. It was Peter Dutton casting his vote. And just like standing there holding his piece of paper in the ballot for like 2 minutes while people take photos. It reminded me of that Ted Cruz campaign ad in the 2016 election where with him and his family sitting around the table saying grace, and they say it like 7 times.
Yeah.
And it just sort of becomes ridiculous, doesn't it?
Yep.
Mind you, speaking of this, so I looked at this photo earlier today, along when it was posted, along with the photos of Albo and his missus, putting their ballot slips in, and I actually had a giggle because the first thing that I do always with stuff like this is go straight to the comments, right? Because I want to see what the people have to say. It's one of my favorite pastimes, reading comments of weird posts like this. And the very first question, Nathan, if you could find it at all, is like the Albanese version of this photo.
Yep.
Someone made comment that Albo needs to get his eyes checked. And I once you have a look at the photo, you'll understand why. Because I must admit, I had a bit of a laugh. Poor fella. He's aged a bit in the last 3 years, and he's was looking a little worse for wear today, honestly. But he was trying his best. And when you see the actual photo come up, and just have a look at his eyes, he looks a little wok-eyed, honestly. Looks like the poor guy hasn't had a lot of sleep.
We got him like that. I just love how people would give our former president Joe Biden all kinds of grief for being then 81 years old, who's still riding a bike and just simply looks like he's in his late 70s, early 80s. Then T-Rump comes along and, looks like Jabba the Hutt. Looks like Jabba the Hutt fell in peanut butter.
And Cheetos.
And yeah. And yeah, I think the brown, they've gotten away from the orange and that's sad because I like Mango Mussolini. But
It's actually the orange thing is funny because I remember his first term when he was elected, there was this meme that went everywhere, which was basically this is not what we meant by orange is the new black, referencing the show.
yeah, right.
I thought
And
that
it's
one was quite
also
clever.
it's also worth bringing up that Donald Trump is now older than Bernie Sanders was when Donald Trump stood up and said that Bernie Sanders is too old to run for president.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
When
I mean,
Hillary Clinton was being looked at for her email handling and that whole scandal, he said anybody that's ever been indicted is not eligible to run for president. Dude, you've been indicted and
yet here we
convicted
are.
35 times. Like, oh,
Oh,
that party
okay. Here we go.
oh yeah, there we go.
Is
I
he?
wonder if there's
Oh, we've got a whole video.
what is
For
the theme
They
of
those
look
that?
so awkward, don't they? When they're
Yeah.
just sort of like, it's like they're scared of the ballot box.
for those listening on on the radio, we're watching a video of Anthony Albanese and his girlfriend have a
No,
really awkward
fiance now.
fiance. Sorry, get a really awkward photo putting their vote in the ballot box.
One of the photos that was taken when you see the stills of it, the poor fella, he looks a little tired.
And how much younger is she?
She's that's a good question. I think she's in her
Tell you in a sec.
40s, early 40s.
Jodie, her name is Jodie Hayden, Prime Minister's girlfriend,
Fiance, get it right.
fiance. Sorry,
He asked her to marry him about halfway through his term.
on Valentine's Day. She's 46 years old.
Oh, there you go.
Anthony Albanese is 62.
They really do look awkward.
They do, don't they? Like, you got 2 bits of paper, my guy. Let's get it sorted. Like, this is a 2-minute job.
Is he what is that, 16 years? Yeah, I'm known for younger too, so I'll just sit here and look sleepy.
Hey Nathan, are you able to get up to their have you got Peter Dutton's speech or Anthony Albanese's speech there?
I'll see if I can pull it up.
Too easy.
I wish
Well,
we
after
could have found one of the stills
campaign,
from that photo. Because his eyes honestly look really, really funny.
So just very quickly, 41.9% of the vote is now counted, with 16 seats still in doubt. I should actually go and check that. Oh, before we do that, you want to...
Oh,
Do we have volume on that, mate?
Renewable energy is an opportunity we must work
oh, he
together to
looks. I don't know if
seize
he's angry or
for the
not.
future of our economy.
Mind you, he always looks a bit angry, doesn't he?
Just won an election. He should be jumping off the stage.
I know, but he's always got that
We
like
will be a
furrowed
government
brow
that
sort
supports
of look going on.
reconciliation
Oh,
with
yes.
First Nations people
I've mocked his appearance twice tonight.
because
Feels kinda
we
bad.
will be a stronger nation when we close
Do we have
the
any
gap
sound?
between Indigenous
shutting
and
the bald guy.
non-Indigenous
You should do.
Australians.
No,
Yes.
that's not the bald guy.
Peter Dutton
And
is the bald guy.
friends, we
That's
will
Albo.
be
That's
a
who's
That's
just
government
won
Albo.
his second
that
term.
relies and helps every Australian who relies on Medicare.
Yeah, but
He looks pretty crabby for someone that's just won a second term.
but Dutton
Because
is
this
bald.
card,
Dutton is bald, yes.
Yeah, I'm looking through a video. I'm trying to find a live feed myself, and this is all pre-recorded.
Oh, hang
is
on.
he
I got-
holding up a friggin' Medicare card again? Oh my god, I cannot deal with this man, I swear.
Hang on, I'll get you
this
some
card is not
video.
Labor red or Liberal blue. It is green
go.
and gold. It is a declaration of our national values in our national colours. Medicare belongs to all Australians, and together we will make it stronger for all Australians. Friends, I stand here tonight as the proud leader of an extraordinary team. I stood on the hallowed turf of the G this morning, doing live crosses, making that point. I want to thank all of my colleagues, beginning with my friend, our incredible Deputy Prime Minister, Richard Marles. No one could hope for a better deputy, and I thank him so much.
Does
My
he
friend
sound a
and our
little
Senate
sloshed?
leader, Penny Wong, and her
Yeah.
deputy.
That's just how he talks, though. Have you not listened to a speech before? That's why, you know those ads from you, not ads from you, those shows that you can get on YouTube that Pauline Hanson puts out, the political little shows. What are
Have
they
you
called?
been paying attention?
Oh, have you-
no,
no,
sorry.
no.
Please explain.
Please
Pauline,
Ah,
explain.
yes.
Please explain.
Her deputy,
Because she
John
talks like
Farrell,
this all the time. That's just the way that he talks.
Our economic team led by Jim Chalmers and Katie Gallagher.
Our economic team led by Jim Chalmers. Like, that's just the way he
Our
speaks.
campaign spokesperson.
Oh, I can
Jason
see it. It's
Grant.
like his dentures won't quite stay in.
And we've got a bit of a shared party tonight, and Berkey's here, the member for Watson.
Oh, Berkey's
Oh,
here.
good old Berkey.
Oh, yes. That is the Home Affairs Minister that...
My
Yes.
amazing
What is
Labor caucus,
happening?
which when you look at it,
Gotta love you Aussies and your
is
speedos.
representative of the Australian people. I acknowledge all of our fantastic Labor candidates.
So Yergs is showing us a photo of the ABC website
who put up
with...
their hand,
Yes.
gave up their time,
A
for
bunch
our
of people in
cause and their
swimsuits.
community. And
Oh, they're not
And
just swimsuits.
If you excuse me for singling out one of them who ran for a third time in Dixon, Ailey France.
Yergs,
Why
why
are
are we
we looking
at Tog Butts?
butt?
So many.
There we
There.
While they're chanting, I was
So
looking for a
many
feed
of whom
myself.
will be
This one that
joining
came
us
up,
as
because
caucus
people voted while
members
on
in
a pool or
Parliament.
beach or something. Like, both guys are
I
in a
want to
speedo.
thank the people
Lock
in
on.
Quaitla, most of whom are here tonight.
That'll be me in 20 years.
I apologise to everybody. I am
gotta
still
say
here,
something
but
very
my
special.
camera
On the
has
way
gone
here,
flat.
there was obviously, I don't know whether there was
Oh,
a
okay.
drone above us or what have you. My security team said, you know, maybe they're just out on the street. People don't just hang out on New Canterbury Road. And from Lilyfield...
Has he thanked his
my
missus
God,
yet?
all the way here.
Scotty, by the time we're done with this show, I think I've caught a hint.
I'm sorry, but I won't be moving back
Thank
for a
goodness.
little while.
Of the what? You're really quiet.
You're really
I can't
You've
hear
gone
you.
really quiet again,
Incredible
actually.
honour in
How about now?
choosing you as their representatives
I mean, that's
21
better, but you're still
years and
quiet.
10 elections ago.
Okay.
Can you turn your mic up?
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to do it.
I've lived in this community in the inner west my whole life, and it's an incredible privilege to serve a community that you love, and I do love it. To
How about
the
now?
Labor Party,
That's good.
heart
A little
and
bit
soul,
better.
our rank and file members and the mighty trade union movement of Australia.
Oh, the mighty trade movement of Australia.
The Labor Party will always stand up for jobs and people's wages and conditions. Everywhere I have been through this
Everywhere.
campaign, your energy,
Oh, no,
your
no, what's happened?
enthusiasm, your
Damn it.
dedication to the cause has lifted me up. You inspire all of us in your service of working people, and we thank you. To our magnificent
Everywhere.
campaign director and national secretary, Paul Erickson.
It's hard not to make fun of the guy.
But that was just an Elmer Fudd kind of thing.
This is just him. This is just the way he
Paul
speaks.
has run an outstanding campaign. Paul and I did tell people May was the right time. And he managed to become a dad during the campaign.
Is he talking about the other guy now?
No, he's talking about one of his
He was
buddies.
supported by an absolutely brilliant team. And all of those dedicated people own a part of this victory. And I thank you. To my personal staff, led by Tim Gartrell.
Well, he's getting to personal stuff. Maybe he'll get to his missus yet.
The loyalty, the passion, the commitment that you showed. You have a tough job that you perform with grace, with humour, with joy, and just a passion for changing the country for the better. Thank you for what you do.
He really is just saying nothing.
To my son Nathan.
Yeah.
Oh, g'day.
Oh, g'day.
Who's grown
There we go.
into a fine young man who I am just so proud of. Thank you.
G'day.
Did you guys see that? The son went for the handshake, dad went for the hug. And that was hug.
And
Give him the bro hug.
my fiance, Jodie Hayden.
Oh, there you go.
It's taken him 3 years and 2 elections, but he finally thanked her. Oh, look, everyone's chanting for her now.
Probably wasn't expecting for this to be in your life half a dozen years ago.
Half a dozen
I am
years
so
ago.
grateful for your support, your
So-
friendship, and your love.
Jodie
You make
came
me so
about.
happy.
She's fairly
Which
new on the
matters.
scene. They've not been together for a very long time. Hence the reason
You
that
have my
they've not
heart,
long
I
been
love you, and I
engaged.
look
But
forward to
he was
living our
Anthony
lives
Albanese
together.
was married for 20-something years, and I for whatever reason their marriage had broken down, and he had started dating
My
Jodie.
fellow Australians,
Sort of not long
Australians
before
have
he
chosen
became,
the
at the time, the
Australian
leader of the
Labor Party as
opposition.
their government.
So she's sort of only known him in fairly significant roles of power, which take from that what you will.
He was already in
An interesting
Parliament.
fact about Anthony Albanese's ex-wife. She was the deputy mayor of Sydney.
Really?
Overseas.
That's interesting.
Carmel was her name.
We find it right here in our values.
She was the deputy mayor.
Yeah, his
She
ex-wife.
worked for Sydney Council.
Ourselves to your service. We renew
That is interesting.
the great responsibility and the opportunity of government, and with pride and purpose, optimism and determination, with faith in the fair go and faith in each other, we return to the work of building Australia's future. Thank you all.
Do we have a copy there of Peter Dutton in his concession speech at all?
I'll see if I can pull something up.
I know that you'd stepped out for a quick second there, but did you see? It took him 2 elections in 3 years, but he finally thanked
Jodie for her hard work. That's
finally
great.
thanked Jodie.
Where are we? So I'm just looking at some more results here. So the ALP have got 86 seats. So they need 76 to win. The LMP's on 37 seats. And there's a mixture in the others category there. Just got to go through and double check what they were.
I sincerely hope that with another 3-year term, he can actually follow through on some of the things that he had originally set out to do.
Do you have the volume up there? Sorry, Nathan. Thanks, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, tonight's not the night that we wanted for the Liberal Party or for our coalition or indeed for our country. But we've worked hard every day over the course of the last 3 years to do our best for our amazing country. One of the great honours of being the leader of this party is that we have met people from every side, every corner, the length and breadth of this country. And there are many amazing stories. People who have sacrificed, people who are doing it hard at the moment. And I've always wanted in public life for the best for our country and the best for every Australian. The highlight of my career has been as the Defence Minister, and over the course of this campaign, on Anzac Day, we caught up with young veterans in Townsville at the RSL, and it reminded me of how lucky we are as a country. And I want to acknowledge all of those men and women in uniform who keep us safe as a country.
It's hard not to love what he's saying, honestly. Like, he's lost his job, he's lost his election, and he's still very humble.
Obvious tonight, and I accept full responsibility for that.
Well, I mean, it's a bad move to be a sore loser.
Oh, but we've seen it, haven't we? We've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
sore loser concession speeches.
The Prime Minister and wished he and Jodie
They're
and
not
Nathan
pretty.
all the very best. And I said to the Prime Minister that his mum would be incredibly proud of his achievement tonight, and he should be very proud of what he's achieved. Thank you. I also had the pleasure of speaking with Ali France, and Ali and I have been combatants for a number of elections now, but she was successful in Dickson tonight, and she will do a good job as a local member. She lost her son Henry, which is a tragic circumstance that no parent should ever go through. And equally, I said to Ellen that her son Henry would be incredibly proud of her tonight, and she'll do a good job as a local member for Dickson, and I wish her all the very best. Please. Now, it's been a great honour to be leader of this amazing party for the last 3 years. And I want to firstly acknowledge David Littleproud, who has been a great partner in crime. He's led the National Party with great distinction. He's had the strength of character to stand up on issues which are important to us, and we've worked incredibly well together. He's done a great job, and he will do into the future. I want to say thank you very much to Susan Lee as my deputy, and also Angus Taylor as a shadow treasurer, and other senior members who have contributed to the success of the last couple of years.
Seems like he's just thanking everybody. I mean, I guess that's what the speech was, but
like, what else can you do though, really? Like, that's essentially what a concession speech is congratulating the other guy, which he's done, and thanking his team, which he's doing, and going on about his life. Like,
yeah.
you have to hand it to the bloke. Like, he'd be extremely disappointed right now, and he's handling it very, very well. Like, one of the better ones that we've seen in recent years of concession speeches in this country. They get a little butthurt.
Who are just amazing, led by Alex Dalgleish, Jody, Martine, Jackie, Selma, all of the EO staff, my advance team, the AFP, who have done an amazing job for our family. And I want to say thank you very much. I have the best media team in the country, led by Nicole Chant and Adrian Barrett and their team. They've done an amazing job, and I'm so grateful to them.
Yeah, okay.
And to all of our
So, to give you kind of a bit of a summary on how the events turned out. So, on a national, so if we look at Australia and we look at all of the states, the two-party preferred, Labor was 55.9, the Coalition 44.1. So there was actually a 3.8% swing towards the ALP. The states that they were trying to get across the line was, of course, Victoria. Victoria ended up being 57.3% towards Labor, 42.7% to the Coalition. The other battleground, they were hoping to claim the two seats because on a state level, the Northern Territory government is they're called the Country Party in the Northern Territory, which is another division of the Liberal Party. 54% to Labor, 45% to the Coalition. So there was a 1.3 swing towards the Liberal National Party. Obviously not enough to swing voters. Queensland, on the other hand, they have a Liberal National state government. There's a 3.7% swing towards the ALP, but the Coalition stayed strong at 50.3% versus Labor's 47.9%.
So I think it's safe to say that Queensland's really turned blue, haven't they?
Yes.
From being such stronger Labor territory for such a long time, like a state that is as important as Queensland, because let's make no mistake, it's one of the biggest and most talked about and most resourced state of all of them. To turn blue so heavily in the same year is quite the feat, honestly, on the Liberal National side of things. Yeah. Really, like it's been Labor heartland for such a long time.
And Labor has a very strong hold on Queensland. They've had the state government changed once when Campbell Newman was there, and then went straight back to Labor under Palaszczuk. The other state, which is interesting, if we look at our home state of WA, again, they had a 0.8% swing to the ALP, so 55% versus 44.2%. I find that very, very interesting because WA is a massive Labor state, especially on a state level, where the coalition over in WA is not actually a coalition. The Liberal Party and the National Party are separate, and they have gone through some terrible, terrible, terrible times in the last few years.
They have, yeah. It's the only state in Australia where the Libs and the Nats are not one and the same. That are two separate parties.
They're not in coalitions.
Yeah.
So,
and I was gonna
under Basil Zemplis. Sorry.
And I was gonna bring up before too with Queensland. I think the reason why we saw it swing further towards the Liberals this time was that that Andrew Dutton's thought of Peter Dutton, sorry.
Peter
It's
Dutton.
been a long night. Peter Dutton's sort of like, has your life really improved over the last 3 years? I think sort of hit home for a lot more people. And
Yeah.
just that lesser of two evilism thing that I think we saw a lot of in the United States, in especially the last two elections, where it's like, it's not like vote for me because I'm gonna do the right thing. It's vote for me because I'm against the people you hate.
Yeah, and that was how Albo won his first election, wasn't it? It was
I'm
I'm
not
not
that
ScoMo.
guy.
I'm
Yeah.
not that guy. Vote for me.
Yeah.
Because everyone in the end, everyone hated him. Hated ScoMo. So initially Albo got in simply by saying I'm not him. Like I'm clearly the better choice. And that's, what got him the first election.
So it
Now
looks
I
like
think
then,
there's a lot of yes, there's the lesser of two evils, there's the devil mentality that seems to be coming out a lot. In terms of Queensland specifically, I think the reason that they've started to swing more blue in recent times is I th- they had both state and federal were red for such a long time. Um And when the state government changed, and he's sort of, in the short time that he's had in state government, has done a pretty decent job. I think people are finally sort of like, okay,
well, people in Queensland have,
alright,
and we can say this because we're ex-Queenslanders, right?
we
People
are.
in Queensland have had enough of the broken promises, the never-ending, we'll do this, we'll do that,
Yeah.
and nothing happened. I was going to say, is Jurg still there?
I think he may have had
Yep. I'm here.
all good.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
People have had enough in Queensland of the crime, the crime wave, the state of the national highway, things like that, and they want to see a change, and they want to, you know, move away from this bad name that they have. Hence why the state turned blue. Just Tasmania, real quickly. So Tasmania's got a Liberal national government as well, but there was an 8% swing towards the Labor Party in that state. And I'm not even sure if I have to double check, but Jackie Lambie, see if she got up down in Tasmania as well. I'm just looking at kind of like a broad sort of thing here at the moment. See, even South Australia's had a bit of bad run with the Liberals as well, because they're David Spears, the ex-Liberal leader in South Australia, was in the news for all the wrong reasons. He was charged with drug possession and using drugs while he was the opposition leader. So again, that all it just doesn't add to the Liberals'
Favoritism.
Yeah, that's right. So
Well, there it is, an election wrapped up for another term. I honestly, I know I've said it a couple of times, but I do sincerely hope that he can, now that he's got another 3 years, can crack on with some of those original election promises.
you know who? I'm just looking here really quickly. Nathan, you know who Bob Catter is, right?
I believe so, yes.
Up in North Queensland, Central Queensland.
Yes.
He returns again for. He's got his seat for the Catters Australia Party,
Oh, there you
Nice.
go.
which is
Good old
exciting.
Bob Catter. The beetroot.
Yeah. Actually, we should. I'll have a look if Barnaby Joyce, because Barnaby Joyce was. There was a threat to his seat as well. Not the first time he's had a threat to his seat, but I'd be interested to see, because he's been in the news a lot. Not in the last few weeks, but definitely has been in the news. So
There was a whole thing.
you may have to fill Yergs in on Barnaby Joyce.
Oh, so Barnaby Joyce, a couple of years ago, essentially what happened was,
He was the deputy prime minister at the time.
yes, he was the deputy prime minister at the time, and what transpired essentially was he had cheated on his missus, slept with a staffer, got her pregnant, and
Oh,
yeah, it was this whole thing, and like his whole life essentially unraveled in front of everybody. He gained the term the beetrooter because he's got this like ironically sort of red face, and and
because that's
the pardon,
because that's attractive.
yeah.
Uh,
So he
love
gained the title the beetrooter not only because he had his red face, but because of he was doing that other thing,
It's
and
a very Paul Ryan situation where it's like he could have got there and then just completely messed it up.
but yeah, he ended up he'd thrown
Sorry,
out of
not
his
Paul
house,
Ryan,
and
Jack Ryan. Sorry.
his marriage broke down, his family broke down, and now, as far as I'm aware, he's still living with the staffer that he'd gotten pregnant,
Oh,
and they've had
really?
another kid since then.
Ooh,
So
okay.
love is love. Congratulations to the guy, and he's still got his seat. So, I mean, it's funny because like you'd think something like this, Australia as a country would be like, nah, you're out because people have been kicked out of their seats for less. But honestly, we're all just giggling at the guy, like, bro, you just
Yeah.
need to calm down.
People have been kicked out for less. We talk about that here all the time, and so much of what was a huge scandal in past administrations for us is another day at the White House.
Yeah.
There's nothing sexy about it.
I mean, I think for us, because the whole thing over the couple of months while it was transpiring sort of in front of our eyes, is anyone that understands anything about Australia is that we love to take the piss, right? Out of everyone, anything possible. And this guy was just so comically unwinding that we just couldn't help but make jokes out of the poor guy's situation.
But the thing is, too, he made it like he went from politician to human being. You know what I mean? Like that.
I'll give him that.
Happens in real life. Husbands cheat on wives. They go and have other children. They get married. He also got videoed in the main street of Canberra, coming home drunk and tripped over a concrete garden bed.
Yes, he did. He was filmed sloshed off his face,
Nice.
2 a.m, stumbling home. I'm like, this guy, honestly.
And the other politician I was thinking of before who just like ruined their career with one bad choice. Yergs, do you remember Howard Dean?
He's got a real thinking face on.
Oh, you guys still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, everything just went silent for a minute. So I lost, especially I had the feed in from my phone. I checked the My Network, but there was a pause in my headphones for a second, right as Nathan started talking.
Yeah, I said, Yergs, do you remember Howard Dean?
Yes. Yes.
the infamous clip that ruined his political career.
Well, you guys.
Yeah, I don't get what's so wrong with this.
You have already
And I've
got the
talked about
picture
this
here. I was about to say, I'm sure there's some disappointed people here. You know what? You know something? You know something? If you had told us 1 year ago that we were going to come in third in Iowa, we would have given anything for that. And you know something? You know something? Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. and we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
And then that just got played just absolutely to death. Just that, yeah, yeah.
Yep. That one and Gary Hart was another Democrat that had his photo taken with, was she Jennifer Flowers? A woman that he was allegedly having an affair with. And just she was just sitting on his lap.
Oh,
like at a
okay.
Why
picnic.
was she sitting on his lap?
It was like a picnic or staffer type of thing. And I think she was a staffer.
Oh,
And there was accusations by the press that they were having an affair.
I mean,
And
look, honestly, picnic or not, I wouldn't sit on my boss's lap.
unless it wasn't the first time.
There you go.
Correct.
And that's what did him in.
There's definitely been some funny things around that have gotten people kicked out of politics. It's like when oh goodness me. Oh, I cannot think of her name off the top of my head. Nathan Scott, please help me. Our first female prime minister, bless her.
Julia Gillard.
Thank you, Julia Gillard. That was stuck on the tip of my tongue. Julia Gillard. Yes, she was honestly treated like crap by the other guys in Parliament, and
Tony Abbott especially. Yeah,
Tony Abbott especially. She was really, really butchered. But outside of that, the jokes, because she was a redhead and a woman, the jokes about like KFC chicken thighs and all of these things that just flew relentlessly about this woman. You gotta hand it to her that she handled it with so much grace. And then even now, today, especially, with the climate around, like equality and women's rights and all this sort of thing, her speech about "I will not be lectured about misogyny by this man," like that speech that she did has now become iconic. But at the time,
Donna,
she was
Donna
sort of just
Rice.
like, "All right, sit down."
Donna Rice was the staffer, not Jennifer Flowers. Jennifer Flowers was on the long list of Clinton exes.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. What are you looking for?
No, I am just looking up some results here. So I'm just trying to work out. The Liberals have lost a lot of seats.
Yeah,
That
they've not had a good night.
It has not been a good night. So the list just keeps updating as we keep going.
That's the point of a live list.
No, like it just the onslaught just keeps piling up and piling up. So like, there's a few seats here. Ford in Queensland, Deakin in Victoria, Leichhardt in Queensland. So Leichhardt is up in Cairns. Now, the guy that is the Member of Parliament for Leichhardt, I cannot remember his name, but when they voted Malcolm Turnbull out during the Turnbull years, he wrote at the bottom of because Malcolm Turnbull wanted to do another leadership ballot, but he had to get X amount of signatures first. And before that, he had voted out or removed from the Liberal leader, Brendan Nelson. And the member for Leichhardt, I just can't remember his name for the life of me, wrote on the bottom of that petition, "This is for Brendan, to get rid of him out of office." So basically in saying, good things come to those who don't do the right thing, which I'm surprised that's gone from LNP. Bennelong. So Bennelong used to be John Howard's seat. many years ago. He lost it in 2007 when Kevin Rudd
Yes.
came in. It's gone from the Liberals back to Labor. Petrie in Queensland as well. That was a pickup from the Libs to Labor. Dixon, obviously Peter Dutton's seat. Bonner is it Bonner or Boner?
I feel like it's supposed to be Bonner,
In
but it's gonna
Queensland.
be Boner.
So that has also flipped. I'm just trying to think of I sent through a list before we went through. So there's a couple there on the list. These are all the seats that we were watching to see whether they went towards Labor or towards the Liberals. And all these seats seem to have flipped straight to Labor with some massive swings as well. Like that Liberal seat, Bennelong, John Howard's old seat, that's a 10% swing towards the Labor Party.
Jeez.
And there's still seats in doubt as well. Brisbane, the seat of Brisbane, which is in Brisbane CBD,
Clearly.
was held by the Greens, surprisingly. That was the effect.
That doesn't surprise me at all, actually, because Brisbane's an oddly green area.
Well, that was the Victorian effect. So when Melbourne got locked down in COVID and people relocated to Queensland, they also brought
their political views with
political compass with them. Also, the new seat in Bullwinkle, which is in Western Australia, it is right next to our electorate of Burt, actually. It's a new electorate, so the parliament went from 151 seats to 150 seats. They got rid of one seat in Victoria, I believe, and one seat in New South Wales, and replaced it with a seat in Western Australia called Bullwinkle. That was a three-way competition between the ALP, the Liberals, and the Nationals. So the Nationals in WA don't field candidates in every seat. They obviously go with the regionals, but Bullwinkle, because it's a mix of metro and regional, they had a candidate, and Mia Davies was the ex-opposition leader before Shane Lowe in the state parliament, and it's marked here as a Labor held seat, but the Liberals are actually ahead in Bullwinkle there, which is a surprise. So it's just been updated. 20% of the votes counted. It's a 50-50 with a 3.3% swing towards the Liberals as well. There's a couple here too, just really quickly. Richmond in New South Wales is a Labor seat, which is actually in the process of turning green. So 52.5% of the vote is for the Green Party. So there's an 11% swing from the Labor Party to the Greens.
Yeah, right.
Not sure what effect that has. The other one, again, Fowler, was the Daly effect. So she took the seat from Labor last election, and she's ahead as well in Fowler. Griffith, Kevin Rudd's old seat, which is another Brisbane seat.
Oh, Kevin 07.
That went from Labor to Greens. The Green guy who got up in Parliament and mentioned about rent. So that the fact that this guy.
I actually like that guy.
I have another odd question, and I'm not sure if it's the same in the States, Jurgs, and Nathan, you might have a bit of insight into this. But why is it that most members of the Greens Party, they always have hyphenated names? I've never understood that.
I'll have to look into that. Let me look.
It might be the same reason serial killers all have hyphenated names.
Hey, Ted Bundy didn't.
I'm going to take it down, but in the top one corner of your screen is the photo I was telling you about with Gary Hart and Donna Rice. That photo ended his career.
See if I can bring that up here on the big screen.
Oh, did you? Oh, sorry.
We have, here we go. Oh, yes.
Oh, they've so slept together.
They have definitely.
Their
Yeah.
faces are touching. They're both smiling. Their arms wrapped around. They have 100% slept together.
Done it.
Absolutely. No one is that comfortable with their boss unless they've seen them naked.
Boom.
It's like a buck drop moment.
Boom.
My
Oh,
children,
wow.
by the way,
Just we're also live. There's a subscription service that my show is live on. Well, apparently it's whenever it's the whole feed because I've noticed that Sportcat, who follows me during the week, has been on this app as well, and we are now on DNR Studios. So you're on a subscription service right now.
oh, wow.
Look at us go.
Yeah.
Look at us
Giddy
go.
up.
And we're talking about people banging their employees.
Oh yeah, yeah. You believe me, this is a mild conversation compared to what the owners of the network talk about
Oh,
daily.
okay. Excellent.
Wow.
Yeah, they 100% slept together.
Yeah. And what you're seeing on your screen now is called the Biz Growth Collective. That's another sponsor of mine that or affiliate really that is the next LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
I never quite got on board with LinkedIn. Hey, like,
I
I mean, I get the concept of it, but
I
I
got
just can't get on board with the whole, like, it's like Facebook, but for business, but you have to pay to see who wants to talk to you.
yeah, to an extent, but no, yes and no. You have to. This is a subscription service as well, but this one's worth it, especially if you're in business, like independent, like those of you to monetize their media. This is an excellent spot for you. Hi, baby. I'm getting
Oh, look.
Look at that.
my 45-pound puppy wants to go outside and pee. Oh, kisses. Good morning, baby girl. Your brother. Oh, he's behind us. Pee. Go pee. Get down. Oh, yeah. Lunge off my balls. All right, let her outside, and then I will be right back.
Oh, you poor thing.
Be right back.
That's okay. We also may take a very, very, very quick break. We'll be back very shortly.
This is. We're just taking a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Right here on Radio Live. Australia's conversation starts here.
Let's have a quick look at the Australian federal election now that Labor has won the election. Here are some of the key promises the party has made before they declared victory. So 9 out of 10 GP visits to be bulk billed, a rebate on household and small business power bills of up to $150, first home buyers access to 5% mortgage deposits, cutting a further 20% off all student loans, and delivering some tax cuts for Australians on July 1st, 2026.
Back
And
from
you're back here.
commercial.
We're covering the Australian election. Jurgs is here. The other two have just ducked out for a very, very quick break. Toilet break, too, I think.
I can take that one screen down on my end, right?
Yes.
That is the disadvantage when you're having on so many different platforms and you've filled the screen with all of them. You stop sharing on the wrong platform, and now the video feed just has me on it. And meanwhile, there we go. Let's try to put that back up.
There we go. Oh, Nathan's come back too.
G'day.
Daddy and I thought we'd do it in turns. She can watch the panel here while I go and have a break.
So that's the ending results of today.
Yes, that is the ending results.
So 52% of the vote has been counted. There's still 14 seats in doubt. So the Australian Labor Party have won 86 seats currently. The Liberal National 40 seats. Others, that includes the Teals, Central Alliance in South Australia. They have also won 10 seats together. Interesting here on the news, it just saw it on the screen there. David Pocock is a famous Wallabies rugby player turned Australian senator. There's been a huge support for him to return to the Senate this time around, which is interesting because he doesn't normally align with any political party. He normally he aligns himself with the Greens rather than like the Labor Party or the National Party or the Libs as well. So I'm surprised actually that his support has surged. I didn't think that David Pocock was that popular.
You said he was a former footballer?
Former Wallaby, yeah.
I mean, I think that might have a lot to do with it. In that, I think it's easier to forget the allegiance of somebody like that than it is a career politician.
Yeah, it seems to be the Australian thing as well. Or footballers seem to go for politics straight after they finish their football career. Mel Meninga, very famous Queensland origin player. He was also the coach of Queensland and the coach of Australia in rugby league. He went for politics once, and I believe it was the shortest campaign in history. He got up to do his press release, and then towards the end of it, he goes, "No, this is not for me. I'm too tired." Nathan, you should try and find that video of Mel Meninga.
I'm back, everybody.
While you're there, he's searching for it now. Mel Meninga.
Mal Meninga, the shortest political career ever.
That's the one. Yep. Press play.
Too many Australian famous people have drifted into politics. I don't know why.
Maybe because not everyone makes a smooth transition. Former Australian Rugby League star Mel Meninga tried a career in Canberra, for a moment anyway.
I was just a person out there making sure that I was, I'm buggered. I'm sorry.
And that right there was Mel Meninga's political career.
Wow.
I remember.
Yep.
He literally just nah.
Hey, just real quickly too. Remember we were talking at the start of the show about the Teal independents that were backed by Climate 200, yet another millionaire. They all just some news come in now. So Allegra Spencer I can't remember which seat she was in. I'm pretty sure it was Wentworth. That was Malcolm Turnbull's old seat. And the seat of Curtin in WA they were talking about, that was Julie Bishop's old seat. Zali Steggall, who won the seat of Warringah from Tony Abbott back in 2019. They all kept their seats, all of those Teal independents.
They must be doing a decent job.
Well, I'm surprised because one of the Teal candidates absolutely refused to do any interviews with any of the right media at all. They were happy to do ABC in Australia, but she refused to go on like Sky News or do any interviews, do any debates, anything like that. So I'm kind of surprised that they got up. But again, if people aren't convinced by what the Liberals were offering, it's, again, no surprise that they've gone with the Teals.
But I mean, we sort of expected that, didn't we? Is that people would try and give Labor a little bit longer of a go, purely because they're still so traumatized by sort of the end of the COVID era and the last Liberal time in Parliament. Mix that with everyone being so fed up with the sort of duopoly, I suppose, like the two-party preferred sort of situation, that a lot of people, especially younger people, are now moving to the bug you both. We're going elsewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm also seeing here that for the Curtin seat, the Liberal candidate Tom White has only just announced that he will not be conceding, that there are many votes still to be counted and that the path to victory may be difficult, but that we won't be calling this election anytime soon.
Yeah, so one of the complexities with Australia, and they potentially you would have this in the States as well with multiple time zones, is like it's only 9:02 here in Western Australia. The votes will actually keep, even though they've stopped on the East Coast potentially, some of these have stopped on the West Coast. They'll actually keep going for a little bit longer. To see these swings, but
and then
again,
I believe they start again at about 6 a.m. Correct.
Everything will start up again at 6 o'clock in the morning for the east, and over west. Yeah, it'll be 8 o'clock in the eastern states, 6 o'clock over here. What was that? It was Curtin, wasn't it?
Yes, Curtin.
Yeah. Let me just look up, because you'll be able to tell straight away by the swing.
But I mean, this is not the first time a seat in WA has been this hotly contested. Like, we just had a state election here, and there was a few seats that literally came down to the wire. Like, it was a couple of hundred votes different, and neither party was prepared to concede, even when news forums had called it. Neither party had conceded, neither party had accepted the win, and it just kept going right down to the final votes before it was finally decided.
So with Curtin, there's a 46.2% of the voters counted. Tom White from the Liberal Party is at 45%, and the Independent there, Kate Cheney, is on 54.1 with the swing at 2.8. I mean, let's call it for what it is, right? It potentially is, grasping at straws there, because based on that, unless the big thing is, see, that's the other thing we haven't factored in with the 14 seats that are in doubt. Katie mentioned it in the news at about 5 o'clock that over 8 million people did the early voting, and they don't actually get counted tonight. They will get counted over the next few days. So all that kind of factors in. And those postal votes or early votes, they actually sometimes swing towards the Liberals.
They do. Traditionally, they do.
Yeah, and in this election especially, because the Libs shot the gun, in my opinion, they shot the gun early and gave away all these policies and had nothing to give away sort of at the end of the election, as the election was coming towards the end,
Yeah.
there was really no noise around what the Libs were doing, whereas Labor were late to fire the gun, but they had impact at the end.
Yeah, sort of, because
Hence, we're seeing the result that we're seeing today.
I mean, a lot of people, they don't give a crap about the campaign right up until like sort of the final days preceding the actual election. So no one's really paying attention up until that point. Like there's no there's no big rallies, there's no big things on TV. Like yeah, there's the debates, but even a lot of people don't tune in to listen to that. They just sort of they read the headline after the fact.
Well, they get the hot shots from TikTok.
Exactly.
You know,
no one's really paying attention until sort of the last week before. So I mean, effectively, I don't really understand why the campaigns are, weeks and weeks long, because no one cares.
by law they have to be
Yeah, I know.
that long. You know,
I realize that there's a period of like right now where this is part of our campaign and this is how long we have to campaign for and yada yada yada, but like it's just no one like it, people look at the signs on the side of the road and just keep driving by. Like no one cares.
Did you notice this in Queensland as well, Nathan, that a lot of signs were defaced this election? Not necessarily, they seem to be more defaced this time than they were last year or the year before or the year before.
Yeah, I actually saw less signs. So I think that may have been evidence that they were being like stolen or knocked down or something. But yeah, I definitely saw less signs this year.
You know what else is an interesting fact as well? About this election specifically, now that we've entered a period now where are more there are more people under the age of 40 than there are over the age of 40 that are voting. And what comes with that is a lot of the younger people are either prepared to go independent because they're sick of the way that it used to be and this two-party preferred business, or they would rather cop the fine for not voting and simply stay out of it, leaving
That's
the
one of
older
that's one of the
generations
things I'm
to
fascinated with, is that
pardon.
you actually have to vote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people
Has
would
that
prefer
does
to
that
be fined.
does that get pushback? I was going to say that do people say screw you, I'm not doing it?
Hey, absolutely.
Yeah, there's definitely a big movement of people, especially is sort of in sort of the really young generation, sort of the 30 and under, that would rather
Right.
pay the fine than go and vote. Which leaves a lot of the older generation still to vote, which is where we get simply just the swing between Labor and Liberal, essentially, because there's still a lot of the older people that are calling the shots, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that younger people, and that's why websites like Build a Ballot started to come on board to get engagement within younger people, because they simply don't care. They're like, our country is buggered. We don't care about what either of you have to say. I'm not taking part in this.
Do you have these? This is something actually I wanted to bring up with you, Yergs, because I saved them while we were at the voting centre today. Well, I was there because I don't vote in Australia. I still have my New Zealand citizenship. But do you have these over in the States? This is a how to vote card.
We get sent mock-ups of the ballot, and we'll be able to see. Can you guys hear me again?
Yeah. You're still quiet though, but I can hear you fine.
I know. Oh, and how about now? Is that a considerable difference?
There we go. Yeah, that's heaps better. Might turn Katie's headphones on.
I'm
No, I
learning
can
my
hear the rest of
board.
you fine.
Okay. We get sent mock-ups of the ballot, and for what we will actually see. Now that's from the government, so that doesn't say vote this way, that way, or that's a violation of federal law. However, the parties will send party specific information. I don't think they're allowed to make it to look like a ballot. For not that they can't try to sway you, but there's a huge thing here on counterfeit, fraudulent, yada yada yada, that is within the past 3 presidential elections, starting with Trump. And we can talk all day about rejection and what really is going on, but it's been an issue where it should not look like the official ballot. And for creative reasons, they usually don't. But your local government or state government will send essentially a mock-up of what the paper ballot will look like, if that area still has paper at all. But at least what it'll look like on election day, so that you're familiar with. And the reason for that is they want you to vote accurately. Like if Nathan's a candidate and he's my guy, if he's going to be on that same place in the mock-up that was sent to my house as he will be on the actual ballot when I get to the polling station.
Yeah,
So
right.
there's no confusion, if that makes any sense.
Like we get it looks like a ballot paper when you get the how to vote cards. Like that's all that on there. Each party has their own, like that little. I don't know if you can see there on the camera, Yergs, that the little sort of green box. That's exactly what it looks like when you go and vote.
Sure.
So every party has their own one of these.
So that's the Labor one.
Yeah.
This is the Liberal one.
See, they all have that little green sort of number system. The actual ballot slip looks exactly the same. And
So
it just shows you sort of how to number them.
can you vote across party lines in each seat? Like, can you vote for the Liberal Prime Minister and then vote for Conservative members for Parliament or state government?
In the Senate, I believe you can.
So
yeah.
when you vote, I grabbed a Greens one while I was there. So the Greens one shows it a bit better. So you've got on this side here is the lower house or the House of
Yeah.
Representatives, and at the
Sure.
top has got how you vote in the Senate.
Okay.
So in the
it's
Senate,
upper house and lower house.
the
It's just
Senate
the
card
same
is
as what America is. Yeah.
The Senate is this big long piece of paper, and it's essentially got the party heads at the top that you can just vote for the party, or you can go below the line and there's about 150 names or something like that that you can put specific names that you're voting for within that. So there's 2 different things that you have to do. There's the Senate one, which the piece of paper is about 1 meter long, and then
Okay.
there's just
Wow.
this little, yeah, it's huge. And then there's just the little green one, which is essentially which one that you want, which party you're voting for within your little electorate.
Wow. 1 meter long.
It's really big. It's huge.
So in Australia, for the lower house or the House of Representatives, it's called full preferential. I can't even say the word. Preferential voting, and you must number every box on the ballot paper in order of preference, 1, 2, 3, etc., with 1 being your first choice. So the first count, all the number 1 votes or first preference votes are counted. If a candidate has more than 50% of the first preference votes, they win. If no one has 50%, the candidate with the fewer votes is eliminated. Then there's a redistribution. So the eliminated candidates' votes are reallocated to the remaining candidates based on the voters' next preference. This process continues with the lowest ranked candidate eliminated and their votes redistributed until someone has over 50%. So even though you put number 1 on your ballot, your number 2 vote is always important.
So that's what we call ranked choice voting.
Yes. or
Yeah.
also known as runoff.
Okay.
Instant runoff, yeah. And then for the Senate, you vote two ways. You've got above the line or below the line. So the number, at least 6 parties or groups in order of preference. So same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you got below the line voting, where you number at least 12 individual candidates in order of preference. The Senate votes use a proportional representation system called single transferable vote, which means it's based on a quota system and it's calculated. Candidates must reach that quota. Candidates who reach that quota are elected. Any surplus votes are transferred to other candidates based on preferences. As with the House, candidates with the fewer votes are eliminated and then their votes are redistributed until all seats are filled.
See, this is the part that I don't understand about preferential voting, because it's not necessarily preferential voting in my opinion. It's first past the post. Because as soon as, doesn't matter how many votes are counted, if someone has reached 76, that's it, job done.
Right. Yeah, actual preferential voting, there's a point system where like your number 1 vote gets 5 points and your number 5 vote gets 1 point. And then it goes on the point system, not an actual 1-for-1 vote.
Yeah,
Because
it's
weighted.
it's what?
Weighted.
Oh, right. See, it's not that here. I don't think, like, it's not a point system, which, I mean, I feel like a point system would be way better.
I don't know that we actually are using. I know it's not part of the national system, and I don't know how much of the U.S. actually. Let me look that up quick. What did I just call that? Ranked choice.
Rank choice.
According to fairvote.org, this must be sexy because it's loading. Ranked choice voting is currently reaching nearly 14 million voters in 52 cities, counties, and states in the United States. Since 2004, there have been over 800 RCV elections in the U.S. with tens of millions of ranked ballots cast. In this section, we will explore blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Current snapshot. So lots in California. No surprise there. Here we go. List of jurisdictions. South Carolina uses ranked choice voting for military and overseas voters. Georgia, same thing.
Overseas voters.
U.S. citizens that live abroad, like federal employees in the State Department, corporate jobs, things of that nature. Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas all use a type, as does Maine, Alaska. Alaska uses it for the entire federal or state general elections.
There's
And
different styles of voting depending on what state you're in.
yes.
That's
Wait till you
wild.
learn about something called a caucus.
I've heard of this word. I don't know what it is.
It's where it's in a primary. And essentially what you do, it's outdated. It's useless, it's outdated, and not necessary. But, hey, let's do it anyway.
Because why not?
It's basically a way to cast a ballot before ballots were put on paper. It's everybody shows up at the community library or town hall or the church, and they say, okay, everybody for Katie, go into that corner over there. Everybody for Scott over in this corner. Jurgs over in that corner. And Nathan over in corner number 4. And then they count. And again, unless you have a certain percentage, you're not finished. So they go, okay, Nathan's the odd man out. He doesn't have enough. He's out. You people go somewhere else. We'll be back with round
Makes
2.
sense. Yeah.
And now you and I scramble to go get Nathan's people and bring them over to our respective corners.
Yeah.
And this is where a lot of deals are made, and a lot of, hey, come over to our corner and we'll make sure that you get selected as a delegate for this. That's how a lot of people get in that new campaign. And it's basically outdated because we have ranked choice voting, we have paper ballots, we have so many other things that can be used to replace the caucus. And yeah, I'm not a fan, especially because the states that use caucuses do their primaries in January.
I mean, the basic concept sounds fine. Is there a better way to do it? What is the better way to do it?
Ranked choice voting.
Yeah, the better way is the one where there's no one cutting checks on the House of Representatives.
Oh, right. Fair.
Ranked choice voting would be, just the same thing essentially. First of all, it would be private.
Yeah.
Nobody would know who you voted for.
Which is what it is here. It's all anonymous.
Yeah. There's no anonymity in caucuses. And again, that was also from a time when, what side of the tracks you lived on pretty much decided how you voted. Not that that doesn't happen today, but with privacy, less so.
Yeah, right. Because it's like over there, it's optional to vote, correct?
Yes.
So you can simply just sit out.
I just learned that you had to vote in Australia with this election. I never knew that. That's kind of fascinating.
See, I think the opposite. I think it's kind of fascinating that like you guys have a choice. For us, it's
Yeah.
literally illegal. You'll be fined. I mean, granted, the fine
So-
is not that much. It's not a massive deterrent, which is why a lot of people just choose to accept the fine and pay the
It's
fine.
gone up, I believe.
I think it's about $70 or so, or 120.
Because there was one year where it was only $20.
Yeah.
And people just copped the $20 fine.
I think it's about 70 or $100 to not vote.
Right.
So everyone, like from your 18th birthday, you are required by law to cast a vote. So it's kind of wild that in places like America where you can literally just like, nah, I'm good. Does that mean, wait, I have a strange question here. So does that mean that like people that are in prison, they just don't vote?
Depends on the state. Some states allow felons, like Florida, to vote.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, I find that equally as fascinating, equally as stupid, but yeah,
So
you can do it.
they still get to vote if they want to.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
New Zealand just passed law to so prisoners can't vote, whereas beforehand they could vote.
What's it here? I thought if I was I'm stumbling over my words because my brain is going too fast.
We'll find out.
I feel like I'm sure I read somewhere that prisoners here have to vote still.
Okay. So in federal elections, yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
But there is a restriction. Prisoners serving less than 3 years can vote. Prisoners serving 3 years or more are disqualified from voting while in prison. Once released, voting rights are restored, but they must re-enroll.
Yeah.
Because they are removed from the electoral roll. So oh wow, here we go. In every state, so New South Wales, if you're serving 1 year or more, can't vote. If you're in Victoria, 5 years or more, can't vote. Queensland, 1 year or more, can't vote. Western Australia, can't vote if you're serving 1 or more year. In South Australia, same thing. In Tasmania, 3 years or more.
So up until that point, they still have to vote.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
In the ACT, all prisoners can vote regardless of their sentence. And the Northern Territory is, 1 year as well. So if they're serving more than 1 year. It says important things. Prisoners who are eligible to vote, you have to be enrolled to vote.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same everywhere, yeah.
So voting is compulsory, and votes are typically cast via postal vote. So they don't get to go out to the polling booths or pre-polling or anything like that. It's done via postal voting.
I would imagine that it's done like in pre-polls.
Yeah, that's right. Some more great news for the Labor government. So the Labor Party, sorry. WA has just sent through more votes. So I believe over East, the voting has stopped. And
counting has stopped.
Counting stopped, sorry, not voting stopped. So the seat of Moore in WA is an ALP win. Canning is by the Libs, so they've gained a seat in Western Australia. Fremantle, where your mate Tate is running. Tate.
Did my boy Tate get in?
No. He did not. It does look like, yeah.
What about in Burt?
The swing, that our local area.
Yeah.
You want me to look up?
Yeah.
I'll keep talking and I'll look it up for you.
I love all the names of the places, like all the different electorates. They're so funny, aren't they? Burt, Bullwinkle. Like, who comes up with these names?
They're named after famous people. So in Victoria, Bob Hawke, there's a seat of Hawke.
Yeah, the seat of Hawke.
Yeah.
Whose name was Bullwinkle?
No, now the seat of Bullwinkle has got an interesting, because it wasn't going to be called Bullwinkle. I can't remember.
Do you know why I am familiar with the town or city? I don't know how big it is in real life. Alice Springs.
Oh, yes.
Alice Springs, yes.
What has made the town of Alice Springs famous?
Go on.
If you've not seen it, watch the movie Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yes, of course.
Funny.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Do you know are you familiar with the movie that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I am.
I mean, I haven't watched the whole thing. I've watched parts of it. I am familiar with what it's about.
Oh, great movie. And the three guys are like in like real life, their careers as actors are pretty tough ass dudes. The oldest of the three is an actor named Terrence Stamp. If you've seen either the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, a younger version of him was General Zod. And then he was also Master Tunstall in the Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez movies Young Guns. He was this old
Okay.
British cowboy.
Oh, Terence Stamp was also the movie Yes Man?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes Man with Jim Carrey in it, where he has
Oh.
to say yes all the time. He's that guy.
Yes.
Puts
Yeah.
the spell on.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yep, yep.
Okay. And then the other supporting male character is Guy Pearce. If you've seen, I think it's L.A. Confidential.
No.
He was the detective in L.A. Confidential. He was an FBI agent in the movie with Don Cheadle. I can't forget the not the conspirator. I'll have to look that up. But he played an FBI agent, another tough guy role. He was also in the movie The Count of Monte Cristo with Jim Caviezel and Henry Cavill.
I love me Henry Cavill.
That was Henry Cavill. You think you like Henry Cavill now? Wait till you see him as like an 18-year-old young buck. Well, he played the son in that movie.
Yeah, see, there would have been a time where I'm like, I want to look at the young guns and the actors that when they're in their prime and they look all pretty. And now that I'm a touch older, I look at like the Clooneys of the world and I'm like,
Oh yeah,
nice.
okay. And then the lead is an actor named Hugo Weaving.
One of my favorites.
Lord of the Rings dude.
He was in Lord of the Rings,
The Matrix.
Yeah, and then he was Agent Smith in The Matrix.
Yes.
And then you saw him. Nope. Rather, well, I think he actually did do both. He was kind of like a Darth Vader character in that you heard him, but you didn't see him actually speak because he wore a mask in the whole movie.
Yes, in V
And
for
that was
Vendetta.
Yes, he was codenamed V in the movie V for Vendetta.
Incredible performance in that movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if he did his parts in like an off-camera voiceover, but just to be able to act with his body, the physical acting necessary to match the script was pretty incredible.
Yeah, and to get that, and to get that expression across without having your face.
Right. David Prowse, however, the guy who was in the suit of Darth Vader,
yes,
told that his spoken lines were going to be in the movie. He was flat out lied to. And then when he went and saw the movie and heard some other asshole named James Earl Jones do his voiceover, he was pissed. And that was the beginning of the many feuds between him and George Lucas.
I'd read somewhere, I can't remember which way around it was, but the actor who played like episode 3 Anakin Skywalker before, like, while he was still Anakin.
Yes, Hayden Christensen.
I can't remember if, thank you,
Yep.
Hayden Christensen. I can't remember if it was him or his body double, but they were about 6 inches different in height, and one of them had to have like platform shoes. And I found that rather interesting.
Yes, I think his stunt double was taller than him.
Short. Yeah, was taller than him. Like, he wasn't tall enough to make it look realistic.
Interesting.
Yeah. I can't remember where I read that, but I remember reading that somewhere. It was either him or his body double that was too short to match up and had to wear like platform shoes.
He's in another movie that I liked. And I like the guy that's in with him. I can't remember his. Jamie Bell. They were in the movie Jumpers.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
that's a
liked
good
that movie.
Jumpers. Jumpers was a fantastic movie.
And I really like Jamie Bell. He was in, he was the lead in a series, a 2-season series done on AMC, a network here called American Movie Classics, and it was a historical period piece from the American Revolution called "Turn: Washington's Spies." It was a docudrama about the Culpeper spy ring, the team of spies of locals in Pawtucket, Long Island, that helped George Washington throughout the Revolution. And Jamie Bell's character played the lead in that ring. And really, there was some amazing, acting and storytelling and historical accuracy. Everything really well done.
You know who's a really good actor, but is allegedly, one of Hollywood's biggest divas? Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
I heard he's an asshole.
Yeah.
I heard he is an out.
With the amount of movies that he's been in, and the fame that he's exceeded because of, I mean, the Batman movies, along with obviously many others, but he's apparently, the biggest diva when it comes to anything. Like, he's just a real shit dude.
Yeah, I've heard that. Another one. James T. Kirk.
Oh yes, William Shatner.
No, Chris Pine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard he's a dick too. In fact, I know somebody that had an interaction with him. It was, and when that
Dickish.
somebody else told the story, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's how he rolls."
The funny one is that there's some people that you get that are like really known as absolute dicks. I think another one is Tom Cruise.
Really?
He's just a weirdo.
Yes.
Like if you think it's a good idea to be on the set of Oprah Winfrey and dance on her couch,
I'm in love with Katie Holmes. Yeah.
The elevator
he's
doesn't.
just the guy. Like, yes, he has done some fantastic movies. There's no doubt that he has talent, but like, the dude is like a 3.5 foot nothing, like, strange dude, Scientologist. Like, he's just got a whole lot going on for a guy like that.
And I was going to say,
he's a very and you know what? I can't stand if you ever look at his face straight on, it's incredibly asymmetrical. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I was ruined with this. I was like, yeah, like, he's a good looking rooster. But then someone told me this, and I looked at his face, like, I just like looked at the picture and typed just into Google, like, Tom Cruise asymmetrical face, and had someone else just sort of put a line through it, and I was like, oh, I cannot unsee this. I cannot. And so now every time I look at him, every movie that he's in, one, I realize that he's the size of a small child, and that's kind of hilarious to me. And two is that his face is so crooked that I just cannot unsee it.
I've never noticed that about him.
Yeah, go and have a look.
There you go.
Right.
His teeth are all off center and everything. Like,
his nose goes to one side.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy that next time you're watching a Tom Cruise movie.
I was actually going to bring it up because one, Tom Cruise gets a lot of bad press for being like an asshole. and also for being a Scientologist. But you know, one Scientologist who's a famous actor who I hear nothing but good things about is John Travolta.
Yep. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He's. I've heard that too. That he's gay, closeted.
I've
just
heard
wants to
that
be
too.
His biggest thing, he's got an airport in his backyard.
Yes.
Yes. It's so extra, isn't it?
He flies these Learjets to travel the country, and his hangar is right out of. You have a swimming pool or a deck. He's got a skyway to his plane.
Hasn't he got a Qantas plane?
That's a good question. I don't know. There was one that was, I'll say, bigger, and then one that's more like a Learjet, which because they're a little bit more maneuverable, is what he kind of prefers. I'm told.
There's John Travolta's airport.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. That's here in
love
Florida.
to be that rich?
Where is that, Nathan? Does it say?
I think it did say yes. It is.
I want to say that's here in Florida.
Yeah, it's in Ocala.
Yeah, that's an hour north of me.
There you go. You could go on a weekend trip.
Yeah. And he's on my team.
It's the largest private runway in the United States.
That's crazy.
And yes, John Travolta does own a Qantas Boeing 707.
Yeah, and he can bring he can bring a nice ride onto that thing.
It's called Jumbo Lair Airport.
Oh, I feel like he's ballsed up there a little bit, hasn't he? I feel like he definitely could have called it like Travolta Air or something.
Travolta Airport.
It's I don't know that he is how would you like he's got that about him. You know, like it's got it all about him. It's not.
Mm. Yeah, it's like for him, he's obsessed with planes, and he wanted an airport in his backyard.
Yeah.
He reminds me of like Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang.
Yeah, like if he had. It's like, yeah, if John Travolta had his own private train track, it'd make a lot more sense.
That's what I mean. I feel like he's the real life plane loving instead of train loving version of Sheldon Cooper.
Right. Hey, just real quickly, back on the election, I've just had some news come across my desk here. Remember earlier tonight we were talking about Josh Frydenberg?
Yeah.
Fryo. What did you?
Frido.
Frido. Okay.
Like Freddo, but not the chocolate.
Okay. So this is quoted directly from the ABC here in Australia. I'm opening a book on who's the first coalition figure to ring Josh Frydenberg and try and engineer some sort of emergency by-election to get him back into Parliament.
We reckon Frido's coming back.
Well, as the ABC have also reported, that might be difficult because there aren't many Liberal-held seats left in Melbourne. Nothing to laugh about. That he would be able to be parachuted in. If he was to come back as the Liberal leader, he would literally have to move to Queensland.
There you go.
Where all the Liberal seats are. So
where?
From where?
Sorry?
From where?
From where?
He's based in Melbourne.
Okay.
So he had the seat of Kooyong, which is in just out the skirts of Melbourne. So he would then have to literally move from Victoria to Queensland to find a Liberal safe seat, essentially, because there aren't any Liberal seats. There's not many Liberal seats in Melbourne, and they're really quite thin in New South Wales. South Australia is not looking too good. Western Australia is Labor strong. So he would have to relocate to Queensland if he had any chance of being the Liberal
I don't think that
leadership.
would be a smart move though, given like I never minded Alfredo. I think he was all right, but I think people would be too scared, literally just going back to this whole ScoMo thing.
Well, I want to put it to you like this: if Peter Dutton wasn't the opposition leader and Josh Frydenberg was the opposition leader, would you vote for him?
I mean, honestly, I voted for him anyway, but I think that's where a lot of people
Looking like a true Liberal supporter.
but there was a lot of hate for Dutton as a person. I think a lot of people remembered what he did a couple of years ago, and when the whole asshole lips thing went around and all that sort of thing, and people just kind of had a bit of hate for Dutto.
So, Jurgs, what do you know about Peter Dutton?
That he was sort of was he? I know he was like the closest thing to MAGA, but he was not the full-on MAGA candidate in Australia. Is that right?
Correct, sort of, yeah. There, he didn't want to be aligned with Donald Trump, but he had a better relationship with Donald Trump than what Albo does, and he was seen as sort of going with the grain on a lot of the MAGA ways of persuasion. I
Well, he did say that if he was elected, that he would create a department like Elon Musk is heading up in the States to improve government efficiencies. But I think the other issue...
that's a lovely idea.
Yeah.
Well, look how that's worked out.
But yeah, exactly.
But I think Peter Dutton had a real image problem from the get-go, because a lot of people remember Peter Dutton when he was the Minister of Home Affairs, which is the equivalent to... So the Minister of Home Affairs was immigration and things like that. And he had a very, very hard line. He drew the line in the sand. It was very black and white, whereas... in traditional Labor governments, they kind of just go, "Oh, look, Australia's open. Come over on your floating doors." Whereas Peter Dutton put a line in the sand and said, "Enough is enough," and was quite tough and hard on who came into Australia and who didn't.
And then that erupted the whole Christmas Island fiasco from memory.
No, that was Labor.
Oh, okay.
So what what the Liberals were doing was sending people offshore to be processed. And then being able to come into Australia. But he had this very hard persona, I guess. And honestly, the first time I saw Pete Dutton smile was in the election campaign.
He does look a bit like Voldemort. I mean, it's true.
Oh, someone got sued for calling him Voldemort.
But I mean, look at him though.
Why?
Yeah. Why does someone get sued?
Yeah.
Why is he Voldemort?
No, why sue?
I don't really know.
At least you can be... I'd rather be remembered as a classical potential villain like Voldemort than a failed candidate for prime minister.
There you go.
That also simultaneously
right.
led Parliament.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. It was so Tanya Plibersek. She was the Labor deputy leader under Bill Shorten in 2022. Tanya Plibersek. She's also the minister for the environment.
We don't care about Tanya Plibersek. Move on with your phone. I want to know what happened with the suing.
Sorry.
Yeah. Stick to the good part.
She, sorry, no, sorry, they didn't sue him. Let me open up the whole story here. Hang on a
Yeah,
sec.
let's get some facts going on.
Let me get some facts here. Oh no.
I mean, you can see the resemblance.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a family resemblance there.
Oh wow. So this was when he became the Liberal leader. She said on a 4BC radio interview, I think there will be a lot of children who have watched a lot of Harry Potter films who will be very frightened of what they're seeing on TV at night. When asked what she meant, Plibisek said, I'm saying he looks a bit like Voldemort.
Oh.
We will see whether he can do what he promised he could do when he was running for leader last time, which is smile more.
This human.
Definitely not a fan of her.
But you got to admit, though, she's not wrong.
She is right on the money.
Yeah, that's why when you said that she was sued over it, I asked why. It's not slander.
The accuracy. It can't be slander if it's the truth.
Right.
There's even more. Like there was another one. It was only a couple of months ago. Someone walked up to Peter Dutton on a plane and accused him of being Voldemort.
When you say accused him, like, hey, weren't you that guy in the movie?
No, it's like it's the
like, why are you such like a real Voldemort?
No, it's like it's more like saying, "Hey, Peter Dutton, you look like Voldemort," and saying, "Hey, look, it's Voldemort."
Right.
Look, it's Voldemort.
It was just a reference to the movie, not a comparison.
Yes. Yes.
Slightly dying over here. But yeah, look, whoever becomes the Liberal leader next,
they're gonna have to have a set of balls on them, honestly, because they got a steep hill to climb.
And it's gonna have to be, it's gonna have to be someone with
Yeah,
a,
but
with a set of balls.
This one, I still think it's going to be easier than, and I'm brain farting on his name, even though I just saw him again yesterday. He's got an easier climb than the guy in Canada. Because by what you've shown me and the seats that were won today, he's got much more of a majority and therefore an easier task of assembling a government than what Canada does, who did not have a majority. They had the most
minority,
but not a majority position. So he's got to use other parties.
Because Canada's voting system is similar to Australia's. Hey, is that right?
Part of the UK, and yeah, it's the prime minister comes, I guess, from within Parliament and from within the party, because, like I said, the conservative guy, the pro-Trump guy, I'm brain farting on his name as well, of course, real professional political commentator that I am.
Polly,
yeah. It's like Wayne LaPierre, formerly from the National Rifle Association here in the United States. That's what I associated it with. But like Dutton in Australia, the conservative guy in Canada not only lost his opportunity for prime minister, but also lost his seat for Parliament.
Lost his job in the process.
Yeah. But
I can't
unlike
believe that's happened twice.
the Labour Party did not get the majority that Australia took away.
Mm. And that's a pretty, I mean, like, Albo secured himself a pretty big majority in this election.
Well, the news just then, he will go from 77 seats to potentially 90 seats,
Holy!
which out of 150 seats, that's a huge majority.
I was
That's
going to
almost
say,
unheard of.
isn't Australia losing a seat after this election too? Like some
Yeah,
sort
so
of census evaluation?
So, yeah, it's to do with population and movement. So they took one seat from New South Wales, I believe, and one seat from Victoria, abolished the two seats, and then created the new one, Bullwinkle, in Western Australia, which actually is named, because Katie was asking that before, the division of Bullwinkle in Western Australia is named in honour of Lieutenant Colonel Vivian Bullwinkle, a distinguished Australian Army nurse and the sole surviving nurse of the 1942 is that Banker Island massacre during World War II.
There you go. Did you ever find out where Bert is? Where's it at? What's happening?
No, I didn't. Sorry, Bert. Bert is our area, our electorate. I wonder how they went in Capricornia. That's your side of the world, there, Nathan.
Yeah, how'd they go?
You know what? I actually like. I liked saying the word Capricornia. Like,
No,
like-
Labor retained.
Of course.
boring.
For Bert.
Of course they did. But like, we're gone from voting in the Capricornia electorate to the electorate of Bert.
But
Bert. Like something so fancy, like Capricornia, to Bert.
Michelle Landry won her seat. She
there you go.
in Capricornia. Not much of a swing either, 1.2%. So that's yeah, that's pretty good there. There's still 14, so they've only counted 61.2% of the vote. There's still 14 seats in doubt, and those seats.
I mean, it's almost 10 o'clock here in WA, so they're gonna stop shortly anyway.
Trying to find those seats in doubt still. So Bullwinkle in WA, Goldstein in Victoria, where the independent candidate is ahead there. Fowler in New South Wales, Daly still in front there. Ryan in Queensland, where the Greens have got an absolute thumping, actually 57%. So they'll be waiting for preferences. Brisbane, the seat of Brisbane, where the Greens hold, the ALP are actually ahead. The Greens are no longer in that two-party preferred anymore. It's gone back to ALP, LNP. Griffith is going to be a Green. ALP are ahead there. Franklin in Tasmania is still in doubt. Richmond is a swap, so that was Labor, now Greens. Bradford in New South Wales was a Liberal seat. Independents ahead there. Melbourne, the Green seat turning back to ALP. Bean in Australian Capital Territory, where the Independent is ahead there as well. Longman in Queensland, ALP are ahead, and Wills in Victoria, where the ALP are ahead as well. But there's quite a swing towards the Green. So the Green, it's interesting to see that Green vote. It's all over the place.
Yeah, we like to think that our political system like avoids getting into the two-party red versus blue, but it does.
It does.
Well, there are some seats here, like I was saying before, some of the two party he preferred here is like LNP and Green, or ALP and Independent. It's not necessarily where it's Team Red, Team Blue.
So I'll call them lesser parties, act kind of like as spoilers or influencers? Like, can
Some
they
of them are
cost?
spoilers, some of them are influencers.
Yeah, like for example, I'm in the Green Party, which is liberal. Could I cost Albanese an election, or could I ultimately help him down the line?
The Greens
Or-
would help Elbow win.
I think that's more
Yes.
what the runoff voting is designed to prevent, is that your vote sort of acting as a spoiler, because if your primary choice doesn't win, it goes to your second choice.
So in the end, it's probably, if I'm going to vote for Nathan, the Green Party candidate, but he doesn't, score enough that he's not going to make it to round two. And my second point or second choice was Scott, another left-leaning candidate. Ultimately, Albanese is going to win
Yes.
because I'm
Yes.
not going to pick somebody from the far right or right-leaning.
Because you're getting a lot of people who are like, you take someone who's really, really far left, who might vote, like vote 1 Socialist Alliance, vote 2 Greens, vote 3 Labour Party. Like, the Socialist Alliance has no chance of winning. Greens have no chance of winning. So essentially, you've issued a vote for the Labour Party.
Right.
Because traditionally, it's always the Labour Party and the Green Party work together. One Nation and the Liberal National Party, they work together. But this is where the Clive Palmer effect came in, right? So they only got 2% of the vote this time around. But in previous elections, when Bill Shorten was running, that was back in 2019, I believe. I think it was Bill Shorten, 2019. The Clive Palmer effect actually helped the Liberals get up over the line because their preferences went straight to the Liberal National Party.
Okay.
Whereas this time around, the Trumpet of Patriots weren't necessarily preferencing the Libs or the Labor Party. They were actually preferencing the independents. So they were helping the independents stay in power.
They would be acting as more of a spoiler because their second, third choices aren't running off to a major party.
And that's that was part of the reason why I grabbed these how to vote cards, because Anthony Albanese got on the news and said if we were in minority government that they wouldn't go into coalition with the Greens. But you can clearly see on that Greens how to vote card, right at the bottom there, or sorry, preference number 2 is the Labor Party, right? And then if you pull up their one, the Labor Party, their second preference is the Greens. But Albo swore black and blue that wasn't going to happen.
Why not?
Because of the green effect. They, the green is, how did you say it the other night, Nathan? The green is...
I don't know. What do you mean?
What you said, the Green Party's like to left, like they're very, very... We're having a conversation about the Green Party.
I don't remember exactly what we were talking about.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to remember what it was too, but the Greens have the views that they have is very, very left.
Farther left than yeah.
Yeah, so they're the only quote unquote major party that's actually left of center.
Mm. And see where the Liberals, they always preference in Queensland they're the same team, right? They're part of the LNP party. But whereas in WA where they're very separate, their second preference is always the National Party, and then third is, One Nation and so on and so forth. Or the Libertarians. Actually, I'm quite surprised that the Libertarians didn't get up this. There was a lot of noise about them. And they didn't get anything this time around. Just having a quick look at some Senate seats here. Yeah, no, nothing. Interesting. All the Senate results are coming through now. So the Labor have got 27 seats in the Senate. Liberal Nationals 26, the Greens 11, One Nation 1. We spoke about David Pocock before. He's got 1 seat. There's an independent in Tasmania. She's got a seat. Interesting. The Clive Palmer's old party, the United Australia Party, before it was rebranded to Trumpeter Patriots.
Yep.
They've got a senator in the Senate.
One whole senator.
Yeah, for the United Australia Party. Don't know too much about that. And it's only a half Senate election too. So 40 of the 76 Senate seats will be filled at this election. There are 36 senators continuing in office. So there we go. It looks like, yeah, they're still counting here, which is interesting.
Will they do that to 11 or throughout the night?
That's a good question. Let's have a look. Let's see when they. I'm going to look that up really quickly. Some news that's come in as well. Something about the Libs here. Let me have a quick look at what this is here. Oh, okay. So Peter Dutton's obviously lost his seat. That's confirmed. Michael Sukkar, I think that's how you say it, the Shadow Minister for Social Services, he's lost his seat as well. And the Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister for the Liberal Party, David Coleman, has lost his seat as well. So there's 3 big names gone from there as well. 3 big names gone from the leadership contenders. It will be interesting to see who they put forward for leader of the Liberal Party in the next few days.
This just in. My comment from September 20th of 2024 was just removed when I told Matt Bryant, your fat ass looks like you're about to shoot a bowling ball. Apparently Facebook doesn't like that.
Actually,
It took him a while.
Yeah.
I've had stuff removed automatically from YouTube in the past month. And before I was literally not finished typing and did not click enter on the appeal when I received that my appeal process was denied. And I'm like, well, okay. Because these people aren't kissing up to Donald Trump at all.
No, not at all.
And 2 days ago, I had a video removed off of TikTok because of violating branding policies. And I've looked at the video. It's no different than any of the other videos. And actually, last night another one was removed also for that same type of violation. Whatever it is, yeah. I've there's nothing misleading. I have rights to everything. Like when I say that I'm on Radio X in Australia, I'm saying that, and you're not going to bitch about me promoting your station.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've appealed both. I'm waiting to hear back on the TikTok ones. But my beef with TikTok is they let lower populated creators like me stream live to the platform when they needed us back in December, and we're about to be eliminated from the United States for the first time. And then because they needed a coalition to influence Donald Trump to let them continue. Well, now they've got his attention. They're in the process of making a deal. They've gone back to their prior standards, and I'm not needed anymore. So I can't stream to TikTok. And as a result, the outreach to a younger audience has diminished. So none of this happened during Biden, by the way. Nothing happened with me getting kicked off LinkedIn like I was last fall after the election. Nothing happened with videos being suddenly taken down for ridiculous community standards violations that aren't consistent with other platforms. It's all because they're afraid of this guy. And that's why you're hosting radio, Right Talk Radio. And pretty soon I'll probably be moving Rainbow Radio over to that as well, depending on space, strength of the server, and whatever.
Yep.
But I want something hosted outside the United States. Yeah. So when everything else goes to shit, they're not going to stop me.
They can't stop what they can't control.
That's it.
Yep.
That's right. Hey, just a very quick side note. Do you know Singapore has an election on today?
Did not.
I didn't know that they were only the size of a city. Like they are surrounded by Malaysia. Yeah, it's only a city. And it's literally one of the cleanest cities in the world. They have a 100% recycle. Yeah, they dispose of all their trash immediately in the trash to steam. Then they even clean the steam and recyclable materials that they don't even that they don't also put into like bottles become bottles again. They grind it up. Good.
I had friends of mine that have just gone over there. They went on there of a family holiday sort of thing, and thought that it was just absolutely amazing. Like they just couldn't believe the cultural difference and just how different it is from here, given it's not that far away.
You need a prescription to chew gum there.
Really?
Yeah, so you can.
I bet it prevents gum underneath the seat of in a diner or movie theater.
That's the point.
So that it's not garroty.
I believe smoking in public is also against the law there too.
I mean, it's against the law a lot of places here, but people still do it.
No, I mean like just walking down the street.
Yeah, right.
So it says here about 82% of eligible voters, or 2.1 million Singaporeans, casted their vote today. And they've only ever had, it's the only third prime minister in Singapore's 60-year history. There you go. Isn't Singapore on the same time zone as WA?
Yes,
Oh.
it is on the same time zone as WA.
Some interesting facts there today. And there you go.
Well, I
So
think
Australia
that
votes and Singapore votes.
I think that pretty much wraps up our night.
Yeah, I sure do. Scotty.
Oh yes, sorry. Sorry, I was just reading.
Wake up, Scott.
Wake up! I know it's late.
Sorry,
I'm actually
We
kind of
need to at least say
prepping,
goodbye to our friends.
yes. No, I was just
and I'm
reading a story. Adam,
prepping for the meeting next.
Say that again, sorry. What'd you say?
I'm just doing some prepping for the meeting next after
oh
this.
yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I was just reading a story here from the Greens leader, Adam Bant, has conceded the party may lose all its seats in Queensland. So looks like it would be definitely a Greens wipeout.
Mm.
Interesting.
All right. Zach Chandler Mather, by the way, was the guy that we're talking about. It was in Griffith. All right. We might jump off the air.
Yeah, I think that winds up our evening. We've got our result. We've had great discussions. Thank you.
Sorry, I cut you off. I pushed the wrong
No.
button.
Rude. Absolutely rude.
And that's how the Australian federal election wound up. So just before we sign off really quickly,
and
Anthony
that's
Albanese, sorry.
And that's how the duddo crumbles.
Well said. So a 63.3% of the votes counted. The ALP have 85 seats, the LNP 41 seats, and the others has dropped to 9. So they've gone back down there. So congratulations to the Australian Labor Party, Anthony Albanese, on the election win. Let's see what they can do in the next 3 years. Thank you, Jurgs, for being on the air with us.
Yep.
And thank you to everyone that was listening across the globe on Jurgs Radio. You might have to name some of them for me, Jurgs. On Radio Live in Australia, Jurgs Radio, Rainbow Radio, right? Talk Radio.
Yep, that's it. And well, then some other platforms where you were on Biz Growth Collective, DNR Studios, and UG.media, which they eventually did figure out that we were there, so they cut us off a little while ago, but being simply dumb.
Awesome. So tune in next week to the Radio Live show as well, radiolive.au. We'll be back next week. Thank you all, and good night.
Good night.